About something real quick. I'm a little nervous about this topic, not gonna lie. Here's why y'all need to stop watching the news. Okay, so in the 1950s, the CIA started this operation called Operation Mockingbird. They will manipulate the mainstream media in order to change the American people's minds. Y'all take a look at this. All these major news networks are controlled and owned by all these big ones. So they have
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, man, you guys don't know what we do. I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most engagement QP's videos that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Yeah, I know what we do. Let's seek the truth.
We're going to change the way you see the world. This map shows how many natural disasters there have been in the US since 1953. Texas and California have by far the most, with Oklahoma there with all their tornadoes. And the lowest I found on the map was Delaware, with only 19 disasters in over 50 years. This map shows the purchasing power of $100 in every US state. California, New York, and Hawaii are all less than $90, while if you want to move to Arkansas, Mississippi, it's $113. Shout out if you already live there. This is what Australia would look like if it had its own Mediterranean Sea. And if this happened in real life, there'd probably be 0 deaths, because barely anyone lives there. A super shout out to you if you live in that area. This map shows all of the counties in the United States that have subways. And I don't know if this is more of a statement on the fact that we have terrible public transportation in America, or if all the interstate highways we have is just that much of an achievement. This map shows the elevation of the entirety of Europe. And something I did not know is that the highest and lowest points in Europe are both in Russia.
This artist claims to have been cloned. Listen to this story.
Okay. I guess you originally were born in Jersey?
Yeah. Originally, my first gen. I'm a second gen now. That's why you see the celebrity bursts say I'm born in Toronto, but that's false. My first gen was born in Jersey. However, I was cloned by Clonate in Canada. My model number is 0112568. If anyone wants to see the registration of Clonate.
Okay. And what nationality are you?
Sicilian and Puerto Rican.
Okay. Sicilian and Puerto Rican. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that now.
Those are my two genomes.
Okay.
We don't know if he's messing with us or not.
Sicilian one.
When I was cloned, they wiped a lot of memory, but when I stole the documents before escaping, I read that the mother was Puerto Rican and the father is Serbian.
People really didn't believe him until one day he went on Instagram Live.
I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. So, record your screens. Yo, come over here. Yeah. What y'all gotta say now? You see him? We got the same tattoos, same hair, same genetic structure. Here's my phone. Go ahead. What do you gotta say now? I mean, I'll wait.
I don't know if you're paying attention to some of the
Weird.
weirdest things that have been happening all across the country. Just yesterday, something hit Alabama, and no one is talking about it. Why? A large explosion was captured on radar in Alabama. Don't know what I'm talking about? Take a look at this. Keep an eye right over here. Tell me if you see what I see. What is that? It's definitely some type of explosion. The blue right there indicates the initial impact, followed by the orange that could depict fire of the aftermath of some type of explosion. Is there anybody in the Alabama area that can confirm if anything exploded? Let's take a quick look at it again. Right there. Watch.
Spawned out of nowhere, bro.
So, my question to you is, do you think it was some type of explosion that has not been reported for some mysterious reason? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Here's some of the most disturbing Disney theories that may actually be true. Carl was dead all along.
Up is one of the most popular Disney and Pixar movies to date, loaded with laughs and plenty of entertainment. But What if there was something dark hiding behind this family-beloved movie?
This theory suggests that Carl was dead all along and his trip to Paradise Falls, aka Heaven, is his move into the afterlife. Going with this, Russell is an angel trying to earn his wings, aka the Wilderness Explorer badge. Elsewhere, Charles Muntz is a fallen angel hell-bent on dragging Carl to the underworld with his hellhounds.
I'm sorry, they've done
Weird.
what in Egypt? A tomb that was sealed for over 2,000 years was opened by scientists. In Egypt's Saqqara necropolis, a while back archaeologists unsealed an ancient sarcophagus which hadn't been touched since before Cleopatra's time. Now inside of this tomb was a mummy, along with 3 other human bodies. But the scary thing was, and the reason this caused so much divide online, is because the 3 human bodies were perfectly preserved. And they were actually inside of this red liquid in the tomb. The strange fluid actually started bubbling as soon as it hit the air, and obviously the archaeologists were like, whoa, what is going on here? Locals actually begged the archaeologists to reseal this place, thinking that it was some kind of curse, and it caused a lot of speculation on the internet, of course. As crazy as the discovery was, and they were still looking into things such as what the mummies were, why these bodies were preserved, along with other crazy discoveries such as them finding a 2,500-year-old hallucinogenic. Sign me up. It did eventually turn out that the liquid in there, this red stuff, was a mix of resin and human decomposition, basically. However, Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities never released the full analysis of what actually went on here, which of course people still speculate to this day.
This is massive. What you are looking at is believed to be the first recorded sighting in history of a leucistic Iberian lynx. Photographer Angel Hidalgo captured this footage somewhere in the Jaén Mountains in Spain, but the exact location is being kept a secret to protect it. Now at first, some were skeptical if this actually was a leucistic Iberian lynx, but local media report after analysis of the images by specialists from the Lynx Project, it has been confirmed that this is a leucistic specimen and the first officially documented in Spain and possibly the entire world. You are witnessing history right here. Not only is the Iberian lynx extremely rare with only about 2,000 in existence, but to see one that is also leucistic, which means it's got a white coat, is almost mythical.
No, because do y'all...
Man, we get some mythical links, bro, showing up in 2025, bro. What ad we gonna see next, man? Tell me down below your predictions, bro.
Remember when we were saying that time has for sure sped up. There's no way that the days are the same that they were 10 years ago or 15 years ago. That time has sped up, that the days are going by in the snap of a finger. And all of us are saying, like, God has sped up the time. Like, and I made that video about God being outside of time so he can fast forward us without us being able to realize that time is actually moving fast. Well, scientists are saying that the earth is spinning faster, which is causing time to move faster. Boom, boom, boom. Science always finds a way to confirm God. Now, we all know as Christians that the globe is not spinning faster. We know what it is for real. Isn't it interesting that they try to deceive us by saying, no, it's because you're getting older, time back. No, even when I was 22, 23, time went by slower. 24, time went by slower. As the time progresses, time goes by faster. 2025 has been the quickest year so far up until this point on record. Remember, God said that if the days were not shortened, then no flesh would be saved. And so these days are quickening, technically shortening, to take less time for Jesus to come back. Remember, it also said that if Jesus doesn't come quicker, then there will be no flesh saved. So he has to come quicker than what he was supposed to come in order for flesh to be saved. So in essence, time is moving faster. The scientists are right. They're just wrong about how it's moving faster and who's moving it faster and why. However, they are seeing the same things. So if you are a person who believes in science and you don't believe in God, they're saying that the time is moving fast as well. If you're a person who believes in God, then what we have been saying for so long, the time has been moving faster. It has nothing to do about age. The time has actually been moving faster.
What the hell is going on this planet?
You think?
According to NASA, an underwater volcano nicknamed Sharkano erupted yesterday and released mutant sharks. Now, mind you, these sharks have been surviving. Let me say that again. Living and surviving in that volcano in that acidic, hot-ass water. And now they loose. It's like every day we get another movie to play with. Now, what kind of movie is this? Sharknado? So 2024, basically what you're saying is, first, the drones. Then, it's too many things to go through. So we have mutant sharks swimming around in these waters. What's next? It's another reason why I say I'm never going on no more cruises. I went on all the cruises I'm gonna go on. I'm not swimming in no nothing. I ain't going to no beaches. I'm not doing none of that.
Smart.
Because for this shit to be going on, it's something crazy. My question is scientists, people who know about this, how were these sharks surviving in those type of conditions? We wouldn't be able to survive there. Let me ask you a question. Are the sharks there? I ain't gonna say it. I'm out.
If you never wanted to go to the military, this video right here might make you want to go. Because I'm not going to lie, it had me looking like, man, bruh, look at this shit. This is real, y'all. This is not a game.
Look like some
even though it look like it.
Oh,
Maybe you want to go play Call of Duty or Battlefield 6. Look at this shit, y'all. Watch. The helmet can see through the fucking wall, nigga. I'm like, you can see through the wall now, fool? Let the recruiter come to me in high school and show me this. Nigga, I'd have been like, yeah, I'm signing up. What do I sign up?
There's a certain blood type. I think it's the rarest in the world. It's called Rh negative. I've never heard of it. A dialect and a language that matches and originates from nothing around Europe. Yeah. So the theory is going, are they human/alien hybrids?
If a rhesus positive and a rhesus negative parents were to have an offspring,
an Rh negative mother, her body would actually try to an Rh positive baby. How on earth could this happen? It suggests somewhere in our lineage that the Rh negatives and the Rh positives are perceived as being profoundly different. Lower than normal blood pressure, lower than normal pulse. In a number of cases, they have an extra vertebra in their back.
Are they different humans? Why do they have a different blood type? And also, one of the interesting traits of people with Rh negative blood type is they have red hair. And as we know, red hair is a mutation. It's something very, very rare. Like, you don't really find that anywhere. Now it gets even deeper, right? The theory goes even more that they're not aliens, but they're actually...
This dentist put a recording device in his patient's tooth and he took one listen and immediately called the police, part 2. When Dr. Walker heard the recording device, he immediately broke down in tears. He could hear Julia begging for help and screaming at the top of her lungs. But as he went to go call the police, he stopped himself. Walker knew that if the police found out that he put a recording device in her tooth, he would go to jail for the rest of his life. But instead, he tracked the location by the recording device. He drove miles in the Dubai desert to find the exact location. Then Walker was forced to walk 2 miles in the scorching sun when he saw something. There was a well in the ground in the exact location that Julia was supposed to be. He climbed down 20 feet into the well and you won't believe what he saw. But first, I found a way you can make money just from walking. And I've already made $100 from my walk today, and if you want to get paid just for walking, press right here. He found a man drilling out Julia's tooth, so he punched the man in the face. Shortly after, police arrived and they arrested the man. And as it turns out, it was Julia's father.
People are now finding out what tra-la-leo, tra-la-la actually means in Italian. And not only are people apologizing, but they are begging for forgiveness after saying it so many times. So for context, the Italian brain rot of tra-la-leo, tra-la-la has been going super viral lately. He is literally just a shark that wears blue Nike shoes. And the Italian brain rot has to be my most favoriteest thing on the internet lately. With characters like Tum 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 Sahur, Bombadillo Crocodillo, and Ballerina Cappuccino. And people are recently finding out that Ballerina Cappuccino has to be the most biggest bop of all time. She has kids with Tum 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 Sahur, and most recently had babies with Tra-la-leo, tra-la-la. But this is where it gets even more worser. After Tum Tum Sahur and Ballerina Cappuccino posted their behind-the-scenes video that went mega viral, people are now looking even more into the lore, and they have now found out what Tra-la-leo, tra-la-la allegedly means, and it literally makes me sick to my stomach that I've been saying it this much. Now this all makes sense why Tum 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 Sahur is now running from the police, because Tra-la-leo, tra-la-la really means, translated to English, it allegedly means God is a blank. Has Italian brain rot gone too far?
Can we talk about...
I think it has, bro. It's a crazy thing to say, man. It was trending for that long, bro. Should I go down that freaking brain rot rabbit hole, bro? I could if the seekers wanted.
About something real quick. I'm a little nervous about this topic, not gonna lie. Let me close my blinds. Here's why y'all need to stop watching the news. Okay, so in the 1950s, the CIA started this operation called Operation Mockingbird. They will manipulate the mainstream media in order to change the American people's minds for propaganda purposes. Some journalists were threatened and blackmailed into cooperating with this project. Y'all take a look at this. All these major news networks are controlled and owned by all these big ones. So they have to do what they say. Look at this. The news is just based on the opinion of the people who control everything. And everything is one-sided. The media hated this man. Trump said he's going to make his own social media platform where he's going to be talking about truth because he knows about this Operation Mockingbird. So y'all be safe.
Did you know naming your kids with these names are illegal in USA?
Wait, there's actually certain names that are illegal?
Yeah, and sometimes certain names get through without the government knowing, right? But eventually they could get caught and punished. So it's illegal to name your kids like Jesus Christ, Messiah, the rate symbol, King, Queen, the number 3. Also Santa Claus, Majesty, and 1069. And parents have actually tried to name their kids these things. All these names are the names that people have tried to name their kids. It's also illegal to name your kid Facebook 07 Thor, James Bond, Monkey, Hermione, Batman, and the most hilarious one is Burger King.
What?
It's just, I mean, who's going to name their kid Burger King? They at least should have picked like McDonald's or something.
Some of these names are not banned in the whole USA. For example, King is a first name banned only in Texas. So if you are planning to be named your kid King as a first name while living in Texas, think twice. Because law says no King is a first name in Texas. And if you name your kids with these names,
with all this influx of high energy coming in, y'all, the Matrix is breaking down. Y'all gotta check this. This is in real time. This video was recorded in Ireland. These guys are on the roof working on a construction job. And then they look around the corner and they see this guy stuck in real time. He's not moving or nothing. There's cars moving around him, but this guy is literally stuck. Look at this. This car literally goes around him, bro. He is not moving at all, y'all. Look at the people walking around him. You got the cars going in and out. But this guy's not budging an inch. Not even flinching, y'all. What is happening here? Now, one of the concepts we've heard our whole life is that we are in a simulation. We are in a matrix, in an encoded supercomputer video game. And we are on what's called a motherboard, because if you look at the way that our cities are designed, they look identical to what a motherboard from a CPU looks like, y'all. But check this out, y'all. So reality is glitching, man. All these planes being stuck up in the air, falling out of the sky, y'all. Are those the results of this glitch? Look at this.
It's fucking cars in the middle of what the fuck is going on?
He thinks it's his phone.
Just standing there, bro.
He's not budging at all yet. But yes, y'all, the shift is here. We're shifting in and out of realities. Let me know what you guys think about.
This is why you need to be careful with dating apps. On November 15th, 2017, 24-year-old Sydney Louv decided to meet Bailey Boswell in person after speaking on Tinder for a few days. For their first date, Bailey invited Sydney to come over to her apartment that she shared with her boyfriend Aubrey Trail. 24 minutes after Sydney arrived to the apartment, her phone was turned off and Bailey and her boyfriend Aubrey murdered her and chopped her body into 13 pieces using a saw. This attack was planned by the couple for a while, and there's even surveillance footage of them going into Home Depot and buying the saw and cleaning supplies. They then scattered Sydney's remains along the roads in Clay County, Nebraska, and it was found 3 weeks later. Investigators later found out that the couple talked about gaining power by committing murders and making videos of them torturing people. At the end of it, Bailey was sentenced to life in prison and Aubrey was sentenced to death.
Be careful who you're talking to on the internet.
Here's why you should never carve pumpkins for Halloween. Brett was really excited to carve Halloween pumpkins with his family this year. His whole family had even gone to a pumpkin patch to pick their own pumpkins. And Brett had made sure to get the biggest one he could carry. When the time came to carve pumpkins, his family got everything ready. And Brett started carving into the pumpkin. But once he got past the rind of it, everything started to go wrong. The pumpkin started to smell really, really bad. It was filling up the whole house. house. But Brett didn't want the pumpkin to go to waste, and he knew he needed to see what was inside, so he kept carving away at the pumpkin, until at last he revealed what was causing that smell, and what he saw made him never want to carve pumpkins ever again. Hit the plus for part 2, it's coming soon.
These cliffhangers, bro. What was in that pumpkin? We need to know.
This girl wore makeup every day for 30 years, and you won't believe what doctors discovered. Carly would never go a day without wearing makeup starting at just 16 years old. She was never satisfied even when she spent hours putting on makeup. She always wanted more. She said that she felt prettier with makeup and it boosted her confidence. Carly was a model for some of the biggest companies, and they would force her to wear makeup for every photo shoot. But things started to change for her after 30 years. Her skin was starting to peel and getting crusty. She noticed this for months until one day she woke up with extreme pain on her face. When she looked in the mirror, she found her face had become practically flesh and bone because her skin had peeled off so much. She was rushed to the hospital after collapsing on the floor. The doctors took one look at her face in the hospital and couldn't believe what they saw. Hit the plus for part 2, it's coming soon.
Maybe that's a side effect of using too much makeup. Like you said, she was putting it on for 30 years straight. I'm guessing there's gonna be some side effects of having that much makeup on your skin. She was doing it for hours at the time too. You guys have any thoughts about that? Any guesses? I'm going with your side effect of too much makeup, man. There's only so much your skin can take. That's an edit. Call it like we see it, man.
The world's rarest items. Discovered in 2003, the Rainbow Virgin Opal literally glows in the dark and is worth well over $1 million. The darker the room, the more vibrant it is said to be. One of the most sought-after signatures in the entire world is that of William Shakespeare. With only 6 of his signatures known in the world today, your odds of getting one are non-existent.
William Shakespeare, yeah, that's probably
These
cost
are dirty
millions.
facts about history that will blow your mind, part 2. Up first, Lewis and Clark kept journals detailing the violent diarrhea that they and their fellow explorers had. The explorers did not take a physician with them, and it showed. They graphically recorded all of their challenges, which also included chef thighs, boils, and mosquito bites. One team member even died from his diarrhea. Next up, when Edgar Allan Poe was 27 years old, he married his 13-year-old cousin. They lived together in a public home before they were publicly married in 1836. Her age was listed at 21, and she died at 24. Many people believe his book called The Raven was inspired by her illness and death. Finally, King Tut was actually mummified with a boner. When his embalmed body was discovered, his penis stood upright. They say he was buried like this to symbolize the political struggle of Egypt at the time.
Okay.
People who are 1 in a million. Zhang Rufang is over 100 years old, but a few years back, something strange happened. She started growing a horn on her head. It started small, but it's grown to over 6 centimeters over the years. And now she's even growing a second horn on the other side. Doctors have offered to freely remove it, but she always says no. Zion Clark was born with a disease that caused the lower half of his body to stop growing. But this didn't stop him from training to become a professional athlete. Today, he's a pro wrestler, and he even competes against people who are twice his own weight. He's also appeared on multiple TV shows and even starred in his own Netflix documentary. Finally, this is Javier from Guatemala. He has an unknown condition that causes his head to grow uncontrollably and makes his voice incredibly deep. Despite this, he's lived a normal life and graduated high school.
I'm sorry, he sounded like a robot or something, man. That's my first time I ever seen anything like that, bro. I had no idea those people existed, man. Expanding my knowledge base today.
Santa Claus was also Toronto's scariest serial killer. 67-year-old Bruce McArthur murdered 8 men in downtown Toronto from 2010 to 2018. He was previously married with a woman and had 2 children with her, but little did they know about his double life. Many people who knew Bruce described him as sweet and outgoing, and they never imagined he would do something like this. In 2010, gay men in Toronto began going missing, and unfortunately, after some time, their cases stopped getting so much attention. Bruce first met these men on dating apps, and when he met them in person, he took their lives. He targeted marginalized men, which in this case were gay men of color. He strangled them and then dismembered their bodies and then put their body parts in planters. Bruce even took photos of his victims when they were alive and then deceased. This is one of his victims who got away after almost being murdered by Bruce. In 2018, police began discovering dismembered body parts of some of the 8 missing men on the property of one of Bruce's clients who hired him as a landscaper. And finally, in 2019, Bruce pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison.
People having double lives, you never know what they're capable of, man. They say he was a sweet guy. Look what he was doing. Pay attention to the details, man. I said edit. We expert leveled at this now, man. We know.
Fun fact, German police are still searching for the Cookie Monster. In October, a speed camera captured this image of someone dressed as the Cookie Monster driving a car in Dortmund that was going 10 miles over the speed limit. The car was registered to a 57-year-old man who the police went to talk to, but under German law, he had no obligation to give them any extra information, which he understandably didn't do, because if he had admitted to being the one wearing the Cookie Monster costume, or if he told them who was, they would have gotten an extra $64 ticket for wearing a mask while driving, on top of the $43 speeding fine.
These are the weirdest laws in
Cookie
the world.
Monster out loose.
So in Ohio, it's illegal to get a fish drunk. Why am I not surprised with this? And it's illegal to fight in public after 6 p.m. on a Thursday in Florida. Who comes up with these laws? Next, in Scotland, you can go to jail if you say no to someone if they want to use your toilet. That's kind of weird. And in Italy, it's illegal to be sad in public unless you're going to a hospital or to a funeral. So I guess you better stay home if you're sad. And finally, in Thailand, you're going to jail if you're leaving the house without an underwear on. I think that's a pretty good one. What do you think?
The last one got me, bro. If you don't get the underwears, you're under arrest.
This 13-year-old was murdered by accident when he tried to defend his mother from her boyfriend. In the early morning of March 24th, 39-year-old Houston Morris and his girlfriend, whose name has not been released, were arguing until things got physical. During the fight, Houston strangled her, hit her with a metal pipe and a bed frame. In an attempt to defend herself, she grabbed a knife from under the bed, but he managed to take it away from her. Houston then tried to stab her with a knife, but he missed, and instead he hit her 13-year-old son, Isaac Hoff, who was standing right behind her. Isaac at this point is bleeding out, so he calls police and he tells them that his mother is being attacked. When officers arrived, they found him lying on a pool of blood in the kitchen floor, and he later passed away in the hospital. Isaac's mother was found with multiple cuts, bruises, and bite marks, and her 1-year-old daughter was also found with blood all over her. Houston pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and he's now being held at the Renville County Jail.
This is why you should
That's a
never
sad
touch
story.
a dead whale. The dead whale right here. And it just exploded. Yeah.
Hello, my friend. While it's true that deceased whales sometimes explode after washing up on shore, the video you showed was of something else. This is from 1970 when humans exploded a whale using dynamite. Now, washed up whales do sometimes explode due to the gases building up within the body. It just looks a little different, in my opinion, a lot worse. But before I show you that, just to let you know, I am dropping a longer video on the tube soon. Of course, those on my Discord will get to see it first. I'm going to give you a warning now in case you don't like looking at this sort of stuff. But yeah, when whales explode, it usually looks something like this. In 2004, there was a really bad one in Taiwan. I won't show you images that are too graphic, but basically the guts of this whale were covered across the street.
The buildup of the natural gases, that's what makes that happen.
Scariest internet urban legends, part 1. Today, let's talk about Candle Cove. Candle Cove is a really creepy television show that a lot of people remember watching as a kid. It all started when somebody posted on a forum asking if anyone else remembered this show. They just thought it was a fever dream. But that's when hundreds of people responded saying they too remember watching this show. And that's when they realized how disturbing the show truly was. Basically, the show revolved around a girl named Janice and her imaginary pirate puppet friends. One of the characters was named the Skin Taker. He was a skeleton that would wear a cape made out of children's skin. Here's where it gets even more weird. One man, after stumbling upon this forum, decided to ask his mom if she remembered this show as well. Now, she did remember this show because whenever her son would watch Candle Cove, he would just sit in front of a static TV for 30 minutes straight. So to kids, they were watching this strange show, but all adults could see was static. Do you remember the show?
Here are real-life gadgets that will give you superpowers. Everybody wishes they could fly, and someone might have invented something that could actually make that a reality. The Swiss aviator Rossi invented a jet-powered wing pack, which lets its wearer fly high into the sky. It uses materials that are usually for commercial jets. It costs $190,000 to make, and it can go as fast as 190 miles per hour. Next, if you ever wanted a bulletproof suit, now you can actually have one. This Kevlar suit is made from carbon nanotubes that harden as soon as bullets hit them. They're so strong that not even a knife could cut through it, and the only way to cut it open is with a bandsaw. It's also 50% lighter than a regular bulletproof vest, and it covers more of the body, so you'll be basically indestructible. And if you ever wanted super hearing, this mic might finally be the answer to your prayers. The molar mic hooks onto your back teeth, and it'll allow you to hear any conversation no matter how loud the surrounding area is. You can also hear conversations from very far away. But just remember that only you can hear them and they can't hear you because it'll look like you're talking to yourself if you reply.
Would y'all guys use any of those gadgets? I'm using the first one, man. I'm becoming Iron Man, bro. That bitty jet joint. That looks cool. But that last one, connecting to your teeth, we ain't about that, bro. I don't need enough connecting to my body. Good on that.
These are random laws in the world that you probably didn't know about. In Denmark, when you have a baby, you have to name it within the 33,000 government-approved names. Meaning, you can't name your baby whatever you want. In Utah, you are not allowed to throw fecal matter at anyone. Why is it only illegal in Utah? Why? In France, it is illegal to drive without a breathalyzer in your glove box. They introduced this in 2012 in hopes of reducing the amount of drunk drivers. I love this law. They should have this literally everywhere. In Oshawa, Ontario, you can be fined up to $250 if you climb a tree without a climbing permit. $250 to climb a tree. In Russia, it is illegal to drive a dirty car. They need to be able to see your license plate. I completely agree with this one. In the UK, according to their 1986 Salmon Act, it is illegal to hold a salmon in a suspicious manner. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, what is that one?
How long you would survive in these conditions? Part 2. No sleep, 10 days. Being buried alive, 2 hours. Blue-ringed octopus bite, 30 minutes. Electric chair, 2 minutes. Nuclear blast, 1 second.
You're gone. You're vaporized, but then like that, bro.
Don't ever use a public bathroom again. This, my friends, is Akamata. Plus, drop a like, tag a friend, or she might get you. Akamata is a Japanese ghost that haunts and kills people in public bathrooms. It said that she'll walk up to you and ask you a series of questions. These are extremely important. The most important question being, would you rather choose red or blue? If you choose red, she'll chop you up into a million pieces. If you choose blue, she'll choke you to death until your face is blue. If you try to avoid the question entirely and choose a different color, she will drag you to hell to be never seen again. My question to you guys is it worth not waiting till you get home?
This creepy doll will always find and come back to you, no matter how hard you try to get rid of it. In 2013, a girl received an Elsa doll as her Christmas gift, but it was haunted. The doll had a little necklace that when you press it would make it speak, but after 2 years, it started speaking in Spanish. Once they had had the doll for 6 years, they realized they hadn't changed the batteries once, and it would talk even when turned off. So the family said, we're getting rid of this doll, and trashed it. But then 2 weeks later, they found the doll hiding in a bench back inside their house. Now feeling creeped out, they took the doll, put it in 2 bags, left it out for the garbage man, and watched him take it away. Then went out to grab something from the store, and when they got home, the same doll was waiting for them in their backyard. So they took the doll and sent it to a friend in Minnesota, and thankfully it hasn't come back since.
Haunted doll, confirmed. We don't mess
Scariest mythical creatures in the world. From Japan. Tick Tick.
Tick Tick.
From Puerto Rico. Chupacabra.
That's where they originate from. Heard about those.
From the ocean. CTHULU.
That'd be sirens.
From Arizona. Skinwalker.
Seen a lot of those.
From the ocean. Mermaid. From Canada. Wendigo.
Maps that will change the way you see the world.
Interesting.
This map shows the percentages of how many US adults don't get enough exercise. The dark blue areas are less than 10%, while the dark orange areas are 50% or more. This map shows roughly where all of the uncontacted tribes in South America live. This map shows the percentage of how much each US state is occupied by cornfields, with Iowa being the highest at over 36%. This map shows how many liters of alcohol an average person drinks in each country annually. The lightest areas are near zero, while the darkest areas are 10 to 13 liters a year. This map shows the difference between cat countries and dog countries. The darkest green countries have more cats, and the darkest purple countries have more dogs. You can see with this chart here how many Dunkin' Donuts locations there are in each US state. The white areas have 0 locations, while the dark brown have the most, with some of them over 1,000 locations in that state.
Oh, okay. There's a lot. The cat versus dog map was surprising. I thought there'd be more dogs, but there's a lot, way more cats. It's an edit, man. Like I said, if you guys see any edits, man, call them out with me, man, because I might miss some. We're on a journey
This
together.
is the Devil's Castle, and it's one of the scariest places on Earth. It's located in a small town in Mexico. Its actual name is Castillo del Diablo, and it was built by a painting contractor named Tony Wells. He spent almost $4 million on the castle, and it's become a worldwide attraction. In the castle, you can find coffins, creepy mannequins, and gargoyles. Wells has a collection of over 800 swords and knives, and about 350 beautiful antique mirrors. Often, Satan worshippers leave him presents, even though Tony does not believe in Satan. Would you dare spend a night in this place?
No!
This Inuit tribe crafted tools out of space metal. 10,000 years ago, this meteorite landed in the Arctic in northern Greenland. An entire Inuit community sprang up around it just to make tools from the iron in the meteorite, which resulted in badass stuff like this, a spear made from a narwhal tusk tipped with space metal. They didn't even have enough wood to make fires to actually forge the metal, so they had to cold forge it, just hammering it with giant stones until it was the right shape. The tools were so valuable, they were traded as far away as Norway.
Orbit facts about World War I that will give you nightmares. During the First World War, Canadians were obsessed about killing Germans, and many of them went against the truce laws by pretending to show mercy to those who surrendered, only to change their mind later on and shoot them unknowingly. During the war, sometimes soldiers would throw cans of food over trenches, so the starving soldiers would rush to grab the canned food, but little did they know that grenades were waiting for them as well. In the northeastern part of France, there are still some areas that are off limits to the public, because they are still full of unexploded chemicals such as mustard gas and many others.
That's crazy, even to this day.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. This map shows the 2020 election results, with counties being scaled by how many votes were cast. This map shows what the results of the 1984 presidential election looked like by county. These are the depression rates by country, where the dark red is the most depressed and the dark blue is the least depressed. All 5 different areas that are colored on this map of Brazil have the same population. This map shows what the US Senate vote looked like when passing the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Sweden fits inside the entire country of Chad. These are the countries that produce the most serial killers, and if you look at this list here, the United States is by far the highest. Every red county on this map of the United States is where at least 10% of the population is Native American. This map shows the German language areas before and after the World Wars. So the dark blue is where the German language is mostly spoken today, and the light blue, including the dark blue, is where the German language was spoken before World War I. Disturbing facts that might ruin your day. There have been at least 2 fatal plane crashes due to wasps. We are all spending more than 6 hours a day on our phones, which is more than 25% of our entire existence. There are job applications out there that are only for collecting data. This is why large companies have positions that they never actually seem to hire. This wildlife painter from the 1800s would eat all of the birds that he painted. Bald eagles, owls, sparrows, robins, whooping cranes. 5,000 mail carriers are attacked by dogs every year. A 6-year-old's family thought he was too friendly with strangers, so they had a coworker that was a stranger to the boy hold him in a truck for 4 hours before lecturing him about stranger danger. Half of all plastic in the world has been created in the last 15 years. Crayons have a derivative of beef fat called stearic acid that is also what gives it its waxy smell. Loneliness can be as harmful to somebody's health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Here's part 3. So, we're going to talk about Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres was once loved by millions and was almost like the nation's sweetheart or the world's sweetheart worldwide. But she recently had a fall from grace because new information came to light about her being horrible to staff, horrible to contestants, and just not a nice person in general. Now it's up to you what you want to believe, but this is just information that has come to light. There's a theory that all the elites in the world and everyone that's in the are related. Ellen DeGeneres has a very unusual family tree. So it says that she is a distant relative of Jane Seymour, who became the 3rd wife of Henry VIII. She's also related to Amelia Earhart and a few other names there. She's also related to Kate Middleton. And there's speculation that her name is actually Rothschild, due to documents that have been found. Like for more.
I didn't even think about that. They say all the elites in the world are related. But do you guys imagine African rabbit hole finding out it's all connected? That's a scary thought.
Akuna Matata. In Japanese, Akuma is the name of the devil. So Akuna means evil. Akuna Matata means many evil demons. So you might go, okay, well, let's talk Japanese. We're going to talk about Japanese. Akuna Matata in Swahili means there is no worries, supposedly. But in Zulu, Akuna Matata means there is no father. And Zulu happens to be the primary language that the Lion King songs are singing. Zulu and Swahili. But they told you, no, that song is in Swahili. It's not in Zulu. And what happens in the story of Lion King? Oh yeah, the dad dies. That movie is like literally targeted to the African-American community. We've got Mulan in Asia, we've got Snow White in Germany, in India you've got Jasmine, but when it comes to Africa, they make the movie about animals? That's a little bit racist, isn't it? Why didn't they just make it like, you know, African movie about the princess there? And then you look into like who runs this, and they're all people tied to the occult, to that area that we're not allowed to talk about, where they wear their little funny hats. Yeah. When you get down to it, you realize like the highest order of witchcraft is the cabal.
This woman was in shock.
I never knew that.
Real life glowing dove. Watch this. This is real life. Looks like she was driving on top of the road. Is this a dove, y'all? I've never seen a glowing bird, so this is a bird. What kind of bird is this?
Okay, now I see the glow.
Birds just don't glow like that.
Shit, you got that glow.
It's a sign.
Y'all know what kind of bird this is?
Could this be an angel disguised as a dove?
Is it a dove?
I think so.
Is this a skinwalker? Whose animagus just happens to be a dove?
my spiritual people.
This is actually insane.
If this is a dub, what does this mean?
Why is it
This is
glowing?
crazy. Like, he ain't even moving nothing.
It's very weird, y'all.
I'm mad close to it. It's crazy.
Weird.
Oh, is it time?
Yes.
I work with crystals. They come very these crystals, they do a lot of work for me.
I'm scared. I wouldn't say scared.
Oh no, Speed said I'm out.
Hold on, I'll be right back, okay? I think I forgot my shit. I got something else to do.
That was witchcraft right there. Speed was not messing with that, man. That's a crazy clip.
Not much further need for Hollywood myself. I don't know how you guys feel, but yeah, I think it's a very strange, funny time where everybody would love to be able to be themselves, but they can't because they must fall in line with the person in front of them. You want to live that kind of life? I wish you the best. I'll be on the other side somewhere.
New fear unlocked. This woman felt something crawling around in her ear, and, well, take a look at what was in it.
Better not be what I think it is.
Why do you think it's gonna bubble? Because it bubbles when you put it on blood. No, it bubbles when you put it on blood. It does? Yep. Ah, shit, that's cold. No.
Also, some move.
Yeah, it came out. I told you. What came out? It's a fucking spider.
What the heck?
Shit. Yeah, it's a spider. Oh my god. Ah! Bro is massive. Yo, what if he laid eggs in the ear? Yo, I'm sleeping with earplugs in. I can't deal with that. I can't.
Flag from an anime show is now becoming the real-life symbol of Gen Z protests around the world. Multiple countries have been rocked by major youth-led protests recently, and the Jolly Roger pirate flag from the Japanese manga One Piece has now largely become the symbol and face of these movements in countries like Indonesia, Nepal, the Philippines, and even France. Banners with this symbol in crowds are now becoming common. It's being painted on the streets, raised outside of people's homes, and in Nepal, they even hung it on the golden gate of the burning parliament buildings. In fact, it's even gotten to the point where some governments like Indonesia have labeled it a treasonous act. One activist from Nepal said, "We wanted the movement to feel like a Gen Z movement, so the slogans and symbols used during the protests were linked with things that Gen Z youth could relate to." And it's not being used just because it's popular. It's also because the plot of the show revolves around a group of young people who, while in the pursuit of lost treasure, aim to challenge oppressive leaders. And it's been so effective because this anime symbol transcends language, culture, and borders, and it's become the reference to unite and galvanize young people from around the world. And when it's seen in this context, it's now becoming a rallying cry for the new generation to hold governments accountable for things like corruption, neglect, and censorship. And with more Gen Z protest plans stretching to other countries as well, the question becomes, will we be seeing more of the One Piece symbol or not?
Seekers, if any of you guys watch One Piece, I think I watched a couple episodes, but I couldn't get into it because it's like so many, over 1,000. Tell me down below, should I check it out? Speed is insane, bro. I couldn't do it.
IShowSpeed's jump from Las Vegas' Strat Tower went horribly wrong. His cord appeared to snap mid-air. Did he almost die live on camera? During his 829-foot sky jump, a split-second frame on the live stream showed what looked like a disconnected carabiner. Social media exploded. Viewers were terrified that one of the biggest internet stars might have been seconds from a fatal fall. But here's the twist. It wasn't a safety failure at all. Experts and the Strat confirmed it was a streaming glitch, and the jump's decelerator system, with multiple redundancies, kept him completely safe. Yet the panic online was real, showing how a single frame can spark mass hysteria. This incident raises a bigger question. In the age of live streaming, how often are we fooled into thinking our favorite creators are in danger? And when viral scares hit,
when was the last time you
Crazy.
saw Ryan Seacrest? Why do I ask? Because he was recently interviewed for an iHeartRadio special, and he was just unrecognizable, leaving fans asking the question, has Hollywood claimed another celebrity? If you haven't seen the interview, take a look at this.
Who would be your dream
Look at his
residency
face.
in Vegas?
Well, my dreams are coming true, Mariah.
Who is that?
Right? So that would be a good one. Yes, the Mariah Christmas.
Is that Ryan Seacrest that you're used to seeing?
What we can expect from that. So that would be a good one.
This is the Ryan Seacrest we're all used to seeing. And a matter of fact, this was taken just a couple of weeks ago. So who is this Ryan Seacrest? The question needs to be asked. Has Hollywood claimed another celebrity? As I always say in my videos, I understand that people can age.
Yeah.
But just take a look at Ryan Seacrest from not too long ago versus the Ryan Seacrest of now. What is going on with Ryan Seacrest? So rumors have started to circulate that Hollywood has claimed another celebrity, this time Ryan Seacrest. So my question to you is, what is going on with Ryan Seacrest? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Strange sighting in Alaska has a lot of people scratching their heads this morning. Take a look. An Alaska Bureau of Land Management worker in Fairbanks was checking out the ice on Wednesday when he saw this. He recorded something moving up the river. Now, this video was posted to the Bureau's Facebook page. They admitted they're not sure exactly what it is. Then they added, "We're letting you be the judge."
Snake?
Whoa. And it's not something that has that ice on it? Well, that's what I thought, but then look how it curves and it's all attached.
So my first thought would be a sturgeon.
Yeah.
But sturgeons, Joel, at the bottom of lakes.
It looks like an alligator, which we know it isn't. You know, it does look like an alligator. You know, but
Second
like
guess.
a cold water alligator?
That is really weird. You know, kind of a random aside, when I was very little, I used to live across the street from the Chena River.
I never knew how incredibly common it was for people to dump human remains inside of the Disney parks. But it's so common they even have a code word for when it happens, and this is part of a long list of code words that Disney has for when morbid things happen in the park, and I want to share some of my favorites with you. Also, I cover stuff that's morbid but interesting, so follow along. So if you hear the words code white powder or code grandma said at Disney, it means that someone has dumped cremains near you. Employees have also said that this happens so often at Disney, and every time it does, those remains end up in the garbage. Apparently, they're supposed to call the Ghostbusters when this happens, which is just a custodian that shows up in a hazmat suit and has a little mini vacuum with him. And he vacuums everything up, throws it in the garbage, and says, "Sorry, Grandma." Another very common code is a protein spill, or a code V, which just means that someone has thrown up in the park, and they say that one happens all the time as well. But they also say a code that doesn't get picked up on a lot is when an employee calls a guest our most treasured guest. That pretty much universally means that you are being a nightmare and they wish that you would leave. And this one I couldn't confirm was at Disney, but it came from someone who was talking about theme park codes on a Reddit thread. And they said, "I worked at an Orlando theme park. Our saddest code was an 82. It meant a rider was too large for the seat and they were either stuck or causing a scene and refusing to move from the loading station. It was called an 82 because they ate too much."
Wow.
Bro, what the fuck is this? Better yet, who the fuck is this? Bruh, ain't no way. This is Zion.
It is.
Zion Williamson. The big 300-pound ass nigga. From New Orleans. Who play on New Orleans. That's him? Nah, fool. Nah, fool. Look at this man, y'all. I'ma show y'all a picture from a couple months ago. And before y'all say it, bro, chill, he just lost weight. No, he lost more than weight. Look at it. Nigga lost body mass. He lost muscle, everything. That do not look like him, bro. No one can sit up here and say, "Hey, it look just like Zion." Look at the difference. If this man decided to wear these clothes right now, nigga, he would look like a crackhead, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Just look at the picture. Boom. Boom. He even got his eyes sinking in. Y'all know how them boxers be drained and shit? That's how he look right here. Y'all, this shit crazy, fool. Another one. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts about this down below in the comments. What do y'all think going on, bro? Is it a O? I'm mentally.
What do y'all think, man? That Zion Williamson drop off pick looks crazy, bro. Side by side, you wouldn't think they're the same person, but maybe he just been putting in work over the summer, and it just all just dropped off of him, bro. You know, that's been what people have been talking about, his weight for this past couple of years. He's been on NBA because he kept getting injured. So we're going to see what this change is going to be.
Preparing myself because I know for a fact something is about to happen. The UK just made it mandatory for their citizens to have digital IDs. And if they don't have digital IDs, then they have problems. They're making it where if they don't have digital IDs, they won't be able to work. Then what's going to happen after that? They won't be able to buy food. Then what's going to happen after that? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen after that. Right now, they're saying that they're seizing everyone's bank account in the UK that doesn't have the digital ID. What does that tell you? Then I want you to think. Just think for a second. Usually, when things like this happen in other countries, it's just a test to see if it'll work in other countries. Now you got to ask yourself, what country is next? Right. But then I want you to dig a little bit deeper. Grab your Bible. And I need you to just think about the mark of the beast. Take your time. Not saying that's what it is, but just think about it. Think about all the shit they're trying to introduce. Think about why they want to introduce it. Think about the control they'll have if they introduce it and we accept it. You thinking? All right.
I am.
Pay attention.
Gates. He was behind this company that made this new butter, right?
Yes.
Butter. Better believe it's not butter because it's not. It's made out of gasoline.
The company is working with restaurants, bakeries, and food suppliers to incorporate their carbon-made butter. They're walking through where they're making the butter, and there's this thing right here, this huge tub, and it's just slop water. It's called slop water.
There's just this, and he's behind this company. It's a birth control pill that you take it and you won't have babies for 8 years.
It's in Kenya and Nigeria are the two places that it's been approved for rollout. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is behind the rollout. It's for population expansion control, but it's like, dude, 8 years.
Yeah, you're talking about a potential 8-year minimum gap population. That's huge.
You're giving all of this out to a population who may or may not be well educated on what to do.
Well, especially if research is coming out now with birth control being a cancer causing.
It's complicated because it's like.
Bill Gates, women's priorities first. Yeah, 100%.
He's always made human health first and like never profit.
Yeah. He is actually Mr. Incredible's illegitimate son. You know how in Incredibles, there's that kid that always looked at Mr. Incredible. Oh, the blue guy with syndrome. Yeah. Remember his name was Buddy as a kid, and he came up to Mr. Incredible like,
ready for takeoff.
Who are you supposed to be?
Well, I'm Incredible.
What? You're that kid from the fan club. Brody. Buddy.
My name is Incredible. I know all your moves, your crime-fighting style, favorite catchphrases, everything. I am your #1 fan.
I founded a theory. The reason why he really did want to be like him so bad. Why? He is actually Mr. Incredible's illegitimate son. Yeah. He has the same head shape. He has the same freckles that Dash has. Oh, I didn't know that. He has blue eyes just like Mr. Incredible. Remember in the scene?
Take this one home and make sure his mom knows what he's been doing.
I can help you. You're making a mistake.
He didn't say take him and tell his parents what he's doing. He said make sure you tell his mom what he's up to. Because he already knows his mom. He already knows his mom. And he probably knows he doesn't have a dad, man. Because he's the one that gave him. So
Could you guys imagine that after all these years, bro? That theory that Syndrome was speaking Mr. Incredible's son? That would take The Incredibles to a whole nother level, man. Fun fact, I love that movie, The Incredibles. It's such a classic. I didn't even think about that, but he does have freckles. I didn't even clock that.
Genuinely curious of what they got going on in Area 51 and other places that human beings do not have access to. Because can you really tell me 2 human beings sat down and created this? Because who were the 2 people who sat down to make this? What do they look like? Do they look like him? And then why does Google have this on their website? Okay, our world is literally strange. It's way more stranger than we think, y'all. And this is what I mean by we are living in multiple parallel realities. Just like in the Bible, it tells us be in this world and not of it. I truly believe we are in a video game. Yeah, because, yeah.
Hi, I'm Nalit. Isn't it both sides? Sometimes people treat me not very well, but it's very rare. Usually people treat me very good, and most of people are good to me. And it depends on the person.
Just like in Scooby-Doo and Men in Black, they be showing y'all that people with human faces are really alien beings from a whole nother world. So what if this guy is really that too? Y'all really gotta ask these questions because they already told us, do not trust your eyes. You know, we can only see what 2%, 1% of this light spectrum. Do your eyes deceive you? What is that?
The first days at school was it was not so good because the other kids were scared of me. But when they started knowing me, when we started talking to me, they understood that I was not so different from them. It was just from outside. I looked different, but I'm not different inside.
I mean, he looks like a full-on canine. I feel like a lot of people are afraid of dogs, especially when you see like a walking upright one. You get what I'm saying? It's like, come on. I think there's a deeper genetic link into why a lot of American people love Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Chewbacca. They be telling us in these movies, man. Like, yeah, but let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this video. The shit this year. We're getting ready to see a lot more weird things. Let's continue to get it. Peace out.
People who are 1 in a million. Part 2. This is Gary Turner, but he's better known as the Elastic Man. He has a medical condition that causes his skin to be so stretchy that he can stretch the skin from his neck over his mouth. Next is Nanya Su, who's a boy with perfect night vision. His parents both have brown eyes, but he has blue eyes that glow when a light is shined. He claims that it's hard to see during the day, but while everyone sees this at night, this is what he sees. This is Paul Carrison, the real-life Papa Smurf. To fix his skin condition, he would drink silver and rub it on his skin every day, causing him to turn irreversibly blue. Finally, this man came into the hospital with severe chest pain, and doctors were shocked when they discovered he had 2 hearts, and he had suffered a double heart attack.
This truck driver took the life of 5 people because he was distracted on TikTok. The morning of January 12, 2023, 36-year-old Danny Tyner was driving on Interstate 10 in Arizona when he drove his tractor trailer in to stop the traffic. This scene is so difficult to look at, but basically his truck sandwiched 2 other cars with another big truck at the front. These are the 5 victims that lost their lives on that day, and when Danny was asked what happened, he said that he looked down for a couple of seconds because he got a notification on his work tablet, and when he looked back up, there was not enough time to brake. But that wasn't true. When his phone was analyzed, it showed that he was actively using TikTok when the crash happened. Now, what I found disturbing was that during his interaction with police, he didn't seem too fazed. He was eventually charged with manslaughter and was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for each count of negligent homicide, which totaled to 22.5 years.
This is the track.
Man, I'm telling you guys, when you out driving, man, just do not be informed, man. Like I said, social media is a distraction, man. That's basically what it was made for. So why would you even attempt to even like look at it while you're driving, bro? That's just doesn't make sense to me. Look at the result of what happened, man. Multiple senses, man, because you just wanted to scroll on TikTok, man. TikTok cannot be, well, we know it's that addicting, man, where you just want to keep scrolling and scrolling, but you drive and you don't have that luxury.
Tragic story of the Boy Scout who made his entire neighborhood radioactive. Nicknamed the Nuclear Boy Scout, David Hahn was a teenager from Michigan who was obsessed with nuclear radiation. When he was only 15, David attempted to build a nuclear reactor in his backyard shed, using radioactive material from household items including vintage clocks, smoke detectors, and gun sights. Within 2 years, David had built a functioning reactor which gave off enough radiation to be detected throughout his entire neighborhood.
Damn.
David was soon caught by police when they found hazardous materials in his car during a routine stop and thought he was building an atomic bomb. When David's shed was raided by the EPA, they determined that his project had created dangerous levels of radiation, leading them to dismantle the building and classify it as hazardous waste. This mugshot from 2006 shows David covered in sores as a result of his extensive exposure to radiation. This, combined with continuous legal and mental health issues, led to David's early passing at the age of 39 from an accidental overdose.
Wanted to become like
Genetics
Adam Man or something.
Superpowers Part 2. The Super Coffee Drinker, BDNF. Carriers of this gene remain completely unaffected to the effects of caffeine from coffee, and can often easily get a night's sleep after drinking a cup. The perfect memory gene, HSAM. If you are lucky enough to be born with this gene, you will have almost a perfect memory. However, it's extremely rare with only 25 confirmed cases. The Super Sprinter gene, ACTN3. People with these genes are able to run extra fast, as these genetics give your muscles a higher flexing rate, which gives them more explosive power.
Speed
The
got
alcohol
that.
immunity gene, ALDH2. Having this super rare gene will mean you will never be able to experience being drunk with your friends, and you might have a lot of explaining to do, as it gives you total immunity from the effects of being drunk.
Imagine if everybody had that, the world would be a safer place, man. Everybody's immune to alcohol. Whew. And the speed definitely got the freaking Sprinter gene, bro. I know what I'm talking about. He's too fast. That's the only explanation.
This is how rare your body is compared to the rest of the world. Only 10% of people have something called Darwin's tubercle. It's this little bump on the outside of your ear. And it's said that people who have this are better at sensing voice tonality. 10% of people also have what's called Morton's toe. This is where your big toe is shorter than the toe next to it. Only 26% of people have a narrator inside their head. Most people don't hear a voice when they think. What's even more rare is only 5% of people have their tongues tied to their mouth. I thought everyone had this. Everyone flares their nostrils subconsciously, but only 30% of people can do it on command. Less than 1% of people have unbreakable bones, making you basically superhuman. Only about 35% of people can gleek, and only 1% can do it on command. And gleeking is when you squirt saliva from underneath your tongue.
Any secret can you guys gleek, bro? I've seen that before. I've always wanted to know what that was, man. I finally got an answer. It's called gleeking, bro. Shoot saliva through your tongue. That's a very, I guess, rare skill set. You got any gleekers, man, in the comments? Oh, that's insane, bro.
This incident has made people on the internet so upset because this woman went up to a teen and pulled down her skirt because she thought it was too short. Even if you think this skirt is too short, I think we can all agree that you cannot go up to a child and touch them. The teen said that this woman approached her from behind and basically put her hand in her area. This woman, who is a 49-year-old Ida Lorenzo, said to the girl and her friends, "I happen to work for the state, and if I have to see your cheeks hanging out again, I will call CPS."
I happen to work for the state, and if I have to watch your cheeks hanging out again, I will call CPS.
Now, let's be real for a second. If this was a man who did this to a young girl, police would be called immediately and there would be no excuses. They were waiting at a restaurant to be seated and she basically felt like it was inappropriate for this young girl to be dressed like this in front of everyone. Which, if you feel that way, then you can leave. You should never be putting your hands on anyone. She was eventually charged with sexual battery, which I'm glad, because you can't be putting your hands on anyone, especially kids.
People who are 1 in a million.
Explained it
This girl's name
perfectly.
is Zhang Rufang, and she is over 100 years old. But a few years ago, something strange happened. She started growing a horn on her head. At first, it started off small, but now it's grown up to 6 centimeters in length. But the craziest part is, she's actually starting to grow a second horn on the other side. And doctors have offered to remove it from her head, but she refuses. Before I show you the craziest one, I
What?
just found a way you can find your celebrity lookalike, and apparently I look like Mr. Beast. If you want to know who your celebrity lookalike is, just press this link in the comments. Next up is Nong Yasoi, and he has perfect night vision. And the strange part about this is both his parents have brown eyes, but he has blue eyes. When everyone else sees darkness, he sees perfectly in the middle of the night.
Rarest things found on Earth. This is a red diamond, and it is one of the rarest material known to man. Because of that, they are way more expensive than normal diamonds. This tiny one is worth around $25 million.
Damn.
And this is a corpse flower. It's basically a giant flower that smells like rotting flesh, and it can only be found in remote areas in Indonesia. Imagine having one of these in your garden. And this small and beautiful sea creature is a blue dragon. It's only a few inches big, but it eats deadly jellyfish every day for food.
The more you know. I want that freaking red diamond.
A Russian
You
scientist
gotta find
injected
it.
himself with this ancient bacteria to see what would happen. Dr. Anatoly Brushkov discovered bacteria deep within the permafrost of Siberia that was 3.5 million years old, and somehow it was still alive. It was named Bacillus F, and after doing some experiments on it, he realized the bacteria not only seemed to be immune to aging, but also appeared to have a life-extending effect on almost every organism it touched. He tested the strain on female mice who were able to continue reproducing into old age, much older than the average mice could, and when he exposed it to crops, they grew faster and were more frost resistant. The town of Yakut, Siberia, close to where this bacteria was found, also happens to be one of the coldest human settlements on Earth, with their population reporting longer lifespans than average humans, perhaps due to Bacillus F leaking into their water supply. Dr. Brushkov was so convinced he said "F it" and injected himself with the ancient bacterium to test it out firsthand. 2 years later, he reported dramatic improvements to his general health, claiming to need less sleep, working longer hours, and just having more energy in his day-to-day life. He also allegedly hasn't gotten sick since he injected himself with it, with him and his colleagues starting to call it the elixir of life. Dr. Brushkov did this in 2013 and claims to be in the best health of his life today. And I'm sure Big Pharma loves the idea of a miracle life potion that would potentially lose them billions of dollars a year in revenue, so we definitely should not question any articles that debunk this find. To be fair, these effects aren't exactly 100% confirmed and could very well be a placebo effect, but that sure didn't stop others from hopping on the Bacillus F bandwagon. German actress Manouche began self-medicating the bacteria and reported being able to go for longer runs, feeling less cold in the winter, and her skin just feeling softer and younger. Brushkov and his team insist the effects of Bacillus F are clear and significant, although they admit they're not yet sure why it has the effect it does. But if they can manage to isolate the gene responsible for the positive benefits of the bacteria, they may have just discovered the ultimate elixir of life. As long as there isn't, you know, a whole ass industry with infinite money that tries to stop it.
The elixir of life. I gotta believe that, man. Like I said, it could be a placebo effect, but I mean, if you can inject yourself with like a million years old bacteria, you have to be pretty sure to do that. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. Go down that rabbit hole.
Kids' Toys Ever, Part 51. Mr. Bucket, released in 1990, discontinued twice, and brought back. But what was the problem? Well, the shape of the mouth didn't help. But the only thing they actually changed were the words in the jingle. A certain part they decided to cut out.
I'm Mr. Bucket. I'm Mr. Bucket. Commercials in my top. I'm Mr. Bucket.
Extinct animals, scientists are close to reviving. Firstly, the woolly mammoth. It was believed to have gone extinct 25,000 years ago, but scientists discovered hundreds that just died recently. So they're planning to put its DNA inside African elephants, and they expect to bring them back in the next 5 years. Next, dodo birds were hunted to extinction 400 years ago, but a preserved head was recently discovered. By mixing that DNA with a maned pigeon, dodo birds should be coming back in 15 years. Finally, expect to see saber-toothed tigers outside soon, because scientists discovered DNA preserved in tar pits, and they plan to combine it with African lions. So this 10-inch toothed beast should be coming back in 10 years.
That's throwing off the environment, man. They shouldn't be doing that.
Never slice tomatoes this way. So when this guy noticed that his boss was slicing tomatoes one by one, wasting a lot of time, he decided to show him a trick that everyone should know. He took a plate, put a few tomatoes on it, covered them with another plate, and in one move, he sliced more tomatoes than his boss in an hour.
Have you ever seen a
That's
Mickey
insane,
Mouse
man.
gas mask? These were made to calm terrified children. About a month after Pearl Harbor, Walt Disney was in Washington, D.C. to design and discuss Mickey Mouse gas masks for children. 1,000 of these were produced and given away to key members of Congress to help support the project. At the time, President Roosevelt even received one. Walt Disney also came up with drawing designs for Pluto and Three Little Pigs gas masks, although these ones never reached production. They attempted to keep the fun element in something as grim as gas raids. During these raids, children would be persuaded to regard the whole thing as a game.
That's crazy, man. A freaking Mickey Mouse gas mask? Makes you wonder, man, what other freaking, I guess, companies and stuff made things in that time. But like I said, there was only 1,000 of them, so obviously it was a limited number. That was just a dark time, man, in history. kids had to think it was a game.
Curtain number 1 is... Wait.
That's an edit.
You don't remember what she looks like?
You call them out.
Here are the craziest things to ever happen at Walmart. So one day, an 18-year-old was craving milk. So he decided to steal not 1, not 2, but 26 gallons of milk from Walmart. Oh, and he did this dressed as a cow. And if that doesn't sound weird enough to you, you'd be surprised to learn that even though he made himself stand out in the cow costume, he managed to not get caught on the spot. Next, on Black Friday in 2013, a customer and his son were freaking out in Walmart because they thought that his ex-wife was possessed by a demon. And so they locked her in their car and set up an exorcism in the parking lot by throwing sacred oil at her, which might have been the reason why they ended up divorcing. Also, back in 2013, a 16-year-old was going into labor, and she gave birth in a Cannon City Walmart bathroom. Now, there was panic for a moment because the baby wasn't breathing, but luckily, one of the store's employees were CPR certified and they revived the baby. I guess Walmart really can help you live better. And finally, in 2011, at a Walmart in South Carolina, customers witnessed a man named Avery Blandon end the life of his wife, Lilia Blandon, while she was working inside the store's bank. Avery stabbed her multiple times, and she sadly passed away on the way to the hospital. He then tried to escape the scene, but he crashed his SUV and was caught by police. But what's weird is that the store stayed open during the investigation, only in Walmart.
Did you guys see this
They do
video
not
of these
care,
two planes
man.
that almost crashed into each other in midair? It was all caught by this police officer's dash cam. This all happened last month in Syracuse, New York, when a Delta airplane was cleared to take off, while at the same time an American airline airplane was cleared to land in the same runway. So the Delta airplane was on its way to LaGuardia Airport while the American airline plane was arriving from Washington Reagan Airport. What's crazy is that these two planes were only 725 feet away from each other in the air, but from the ground's point of view, they looked so much closer. At one point, the two planes were side by side, and that should not be happening for obvious reasons, which is why the job of an air traffic controller is so important. And this error was completely on the air traffic controller, who shouldn't have cleared both airplanes at the same time. It's still unclear why and how this happened, but they're still investigating. Thankfully, both planes did not collide, and all 159 passengers are safe.
It's official.
That's insane to think about, man. Like, they were literally, like, that close. Like, there's, like, a hair off if something happened, man. Like she said, it was the air trafficker's job. That, they need to, whoever was there that day, they had to get their freaking job reviewed or something like that, because they obviously was not paying attention. Flights, man. One of the most scariest things, man, that can happen. Fun fact, I've never been on an airplane before yet. I've never flown yet, so that just raises my anxiety.
Aliens exist. These are the remains of non-human creatures. They were presented to a hearing in Mexico's Congress, which is investigating unidentified anomalous phenomena. The hearing was told that the specimens were found in Peru in 2017 and apparently are 700 and 1800 years old. People online were quick to compare the likeness to that of E.T. from the movie. One user wrote, "No way, they can't be that small. Those are mutated cats." But looking at a picture that was released of their skull, this is no cat, which is eerily similar to a skull they found in 2021. What's worse is experts testified under oath that one of them is seen to have eggs inside it, and both specimens were said to have implants made of very rare metals. And even though the aliens are pretty small, you can tell that this is clearly something different. I ain't gonna lie, this guy looks like he doesn't want to go to work tomorrow. Let's take one last look. Do you believe in aliens?
Morbid facts.
Do you?
Part 402. George Lopez has a genetic condition that caused his kidneys to slowly deteriorate. So when he needed a new kidney in 2005, his wife Ann gave him one of her own. A couple years later, George reportedly cheated on his wife, then divorced her in 2010, all while wearing her kidney. The first scientist to observe penguins engaging in gay intercourse, grape, and necrophilia was so disturbed that he tried to obscure his findings to prevent people from knowing the truth about penguins. In 1995, a substitute school bus driver in Illinois stopped at a red light with the back part of the bus still on some train tracks. The children were screaming for her to move the bus forward as a train approached, but she was confused about what they meant. The train struck the bus at 60 miles per hour and 7 children were killed. In 2018, Gloria Williams pleaded guilty to posing as a nurse to abduct Kamaya Mobley from her mother's arms in the maternity ward. She was sentenced to 18 years in prison, the same length of time Kamaya was separated from her birth family.
That was not it.
4-year-old Gabby Mann was living in Seattle, Washington with her family. One day, she dropped a chicken nugget onto the ground, and before she could pick it up, a neighborhood crow swooped down and took the free lunch. And because Gabby was a messy eater, she continued to drop food everywhere she went, and so she continued to inadvertently feed these crows. She grew to really enjoy the attention, and so she started feeding them huge portions of her lunch. When Gabby's mother discovered where most of her daughter's food was going, she wasn't upset. She was just worried her daughter wasn't getting enough to eat. They would go out and buy some food just for the crows. She and her mom began feeding the crows every day. Gabby went outside one morning to refill the peanut tray when she noticed there was a small earring. Over the following few weeks, when more and more little trinkets started showing up, Gabby's mom installed a camera. She was amazed to see the crows would come in and they would eat their food, and then they would leave behind these shiny little trinkets. But the crows' most astonishing gift came the following year. Gabby's mother was an avid photographer, and one day she was out by herself photographing a bald eagle. She managed to drop a lens cover to one of her cameras. That night, when she got back to her house, she couldn't believe what was sitting there. She ran back inside and pulled up the footage from the bird camera, and there it was, a crow coming into the yard with the lens cap in its mouth. This behavior is very significant because it means the relationship between the crows and Gabby and her mom was not a transactional one. Today, Gabby and her mother still feed the crows every single day, and the crows still love Gabby and her mother.
Okay,
It's like good karma coming back to
a
you.
pharmaceutical company that's trialing a new groundbreaking age reversal pill had such good results that the local news wanted to run a story on them. But before they even could publish the video, the chairman and CEO died. You see, 6 months ago, this 12-year-old German Shepherd was near death. He had terminal cancer, was operated on, and his prognosis wasn't looking good. The dog's caretaker knew that an age reversal trial was being conducted on dogs, and so she asked if Zeus could be a part of it due to his dire situation. The pill's aim is to lengthen telomere caps on human stem cells, because as part of the aging process, our telomeres shorten, which increases the chance of age-related diseases and, of course, death.
If you can increase telomeres, you can reproduce stem cells and keep repairing things so that you can get literally younger.
They said that in their drug's preclinical data from a previous in vitro human cell study, it showed that the medication lengthened telomeres by almost 200%. Zeus was granted access to the medication in April, and his caretaker said that she saw results almost immediately.
He's doing marvelously. He goes out to our pool and he swims and he has fun and he plays with the tennis ball.
A recent scan showed that the cancer in his body had completely disappeared, and the results were so remarkable that she asked for more to give another 12-year-old dog that could hardly walk due to arthritis. And just last week, she said that he had started galloping and running again. But then, despite all of that, he hit us with this.
And we are sad to report that since this interview was conducted, Dr. Christopher Chapman has recently passed away.
On the company's website, they announced his passing, saying, out of respect and privacy for Dr. Chapman's family, details of the 71-year-old's passing will not be made available. And then added that to support the new chairman and CEO, 3 telomere directors have voluntarily resigned. Human trials for this drug are planned for mid-2025.
The rarest things in the world.
What do you think happened?
Akita, only 10 left in the wild. Rarest gem on earth, painite worth $60,000 per carat. Rarest poker hand, the royal flush, 1 in 655,000 chance. Rarest element on earth, astatine, less than 1 gram on earth exists. Rarest car, Ferrari 250 Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo? Didn't they make a movie about that?
Okay, this is getting hard to believe, but there has just been reports of a second wave of explosions in Lebanon, but this time it's people's walkie-talkies. So yesterday, Hezbollah fighters' pagers, today, their radios. Initial reports are saying that the most recent wave of explosions have caused cars and houses to be set on fire, and there were even reports, this one's crazy, that one exploded at a funeral of someone who died from yesterday's explosions. And while I'm on the topic of explosions, you're going to see a lot of reports of people saying explosive devices found at Trump rally, even going as far as saying third assassination attempt, question mark. Let me just save you some time. That is a false report. There's going to be a lot of corrections. Don't worry about it. I'll keep you updated.
Imagine being kidnapped, locked in a basement, and then when the police come, they just leave you there to die. Back in the 1980s, many girls in Belgium were just randomly vanishing without a trace. This guy right here, Mark Detroit, was the guy who was doing all of this. Now, in his early years, he had a lot of relationship issues and ended up marrying his second wife, Michelle Martin, this woman right here. What these two would do together genuinely will make you feel sick. Major trigger warning: if you're easily scared, please just keep on scrolling right now. This is your final one. On June the 7th, 1985, they took their first victim, who was an 11-year-old girl walking home from school, which they kidnapped. They took her back to their place, armed her, and then took a photo of her after this before just releasing her. Now, they did this tons of times before actually being caught by the police the first time, but then it got far worse. So they were both arrested but got a very, very short sentence and were out in no time. Mark was released in 1992 after serving literally 3 years in prison for all of this. Of course, the reason they were caught the first time was because the victims they let go free had reported them, so they built this literal dungeon in the basement of the house where they would keep people. He went on to kidnap at least 6 people in the space of a couple of years and left them all in here. At this time, the news was going crazy in the local area because tons of girls were going missing. No one knew where they were, but they were all in here. Now, even crazier again, Mark's own mother actually reported him to the police and they still didn't go round. And she even told the police that he literally had girls captive in the basement right now, and the police did nothing. Not long after this, though, Mark was actually arrested for something completely separate, stealing a car, and he told his wife she would have to keep the girls in the basement alive by watering them and feeding them. Yeah. Now, by far, the most angering part of this whole story is that the police finally went round and did a check on the house. He literally heard children screaming, begging for help, and they walked out. They did nothing. Because apparently it sounded like the screams were coming from outside and just kids playing prank or something. Like, what? There was even undeveloped camera film on the side here, which they just didn't develop, but if they did, they would have seen literally everything. Now, apparently, this woman was too scared to go into the basement and look after the girls, so tragically passed away. When he finally got out, he started again, and more girls started vanishing, until eventually someone came forward after spotting him in a van, basically while in the act. He then confessed, showed the police the whole basement and everything, and even showed them where some bodies of people were. He also reportedly had another accomplice, but they had a disagreement, and he unalived him and buried him in the house as well. After the whole case came to a close, she got 30 years in jail, and he got...
New York was once called New Amsterdam. The word goodbye came from God be with you. Mexico has the most external debt worldwide. Recycling a 3-foot stack of newspaper can save 1 tree.
Whoa.
Here's some random facts that will mess with the way you see the world. Astronaut means star sailor. Astro meaning star and not meaning sailor. That is such a cool name. High heels were originally made for butchers so they wouldn't get blood on the bottom of their shoes. The first ever webcam was created to check on a coffee pot just to make sure it didn't catch on fire. In Switzerland, it's illegal to own just 1 guinea pig. You need at least 2 or more. I think it's because they get depressed if they're alone. I'm not even joking. Australia is wider than the moon. How does that work? The Eiffel Tower is taller in the summer. This is because metal expands when it gets hot, right? A jiffy is an actual unit of time. It's 1/1000th of a second. In Japan, there's over 200 flavors of Kit Kats. I didn't know that there were 200 flavors, period. Queen Elizabeth was a trained mechanic in the military. That's a baller move, though. Become a mechanic and then a queen. Do you know the only letter that doesn't appear in a U.S. state name? I'll give you 3 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The letter Q.
This girl was forced to participate
That
in
was
a government
insane.
experiment by her own father, and it turned her into a monster. It was called the Abigail Project. It was the 1960s, right after World War II. The government had hired a guy named Albert Wester to work on these experiments in Area 51 to create a freaking super soldier. Because of how secret and dangerous this experiment was, nobody would volunteer. They couldn't find anyone. What does Albert do? He forces his own daughter to be the test subject. But before I tell you the rest of the story, suppose we see if your phone is being spied on. All you gotta do is click share, click more, and if you see this, delete it immediately. Now look, Abigail was placed in a closed room all alone. They gave her growth hormones, injected classified substances in her DNA, and even surgically modified her own body when they weren't getting the results they wanted. She started to turn into something that wasn't even human and had primal instincts. Her father, who was ashamed and devastated of what he did, himself, and went to heaven, or not. 3 months later, Abigail, 2 guards that were supposed to be feeding her, and yet she escaped.
Believe any story? Is that story true, Seekers, man? Those Area 51 stories, they can get iffy. We had to do some more research on that one.
Scariest conspiracy theories in the world that will seriously change your life. Part 15. I'm sure by now you are aware that this right here represents all the scariest conspiracy theories in the world. The least scary to the scariest of the scary. This today is crazy, like crazy. So, let's go. There's also new evidence for this, so if you think you've seen something similar, you haven't, because there's new stuff. So, let's do it. So, of course, we all know Michael Jackson. Of course, he tragically died. Or did he? Now, to start off with, why do people believe that he is still alive? Well, this is why. To start with, when Michael died, no one was there to actually physically prove it. No one actually saw it. Furthermore, no one actually saw his body, as he had a closed funeral. And most people of this nature would normally have an open casket, but he did. Next up, someone in the crowd at the funeral looked exactly like Michael, just like he'd slightly changed his face and had some makeup and stuff. And he was actually known for doing this before to change his appearance if he wanted to sneak into places. Crazy. Then a while later, his daughter posted this photo where someone in the background looks like Michael. Like, what the hell? Now, this right here is the big bit, and this is mental. So this is the ambulance that took Michael, and this video was taken after he died. Take a look. There appears to be someone who looks like Michael getting out the back. Absolutely. Now we know that is the ambulance that he was in prior to this because it has exactly the same number plate. So who the hell was that being secretly escorted out of the back after he died? Now this is ridiculous. I don't know what I think of this. So this guy right here is Dave, supposedly one of Michael's best friends, who he never ever spoke about when he was alive. Now many people actually believe that Dave is actually Michael. He's just undergone a lot of surgery again and completely changed his appearance, so he's completely unrecognisable. So make sure you hit that follow button because the series only gets crazy.
That's a mind turn to Seekers. You guys believe that one? Michael Jackson, man, could be alive. That's kind of the same theory they have with Tupac, right? I don't know.
Here's some of the weirdest ways that people have died in human history. A 26-year-old had been to hospital trying to figure out how to stop himself from snoring so dang much. He eventually came across a man named Mark Gleason who had prescribed to him a little remedy, which was to stick 2 tampons up his nose. He suffocated. 32-year-old Edward Archibald had actually died in an insect-eating contest because he had too many cockroaches, and they were still alive and they were clogging up his throat, and it clogged his windpipe, and he died. All around the world, there are some crazy competitions, including seeing who could sit in a hotter temperature for a longer amount of time, and they did so by sitting in a sauna. And a man was in this competition, and his body overheated and got cooked from the inside out due to the harsh temperatures. There was another guy in the competition too, but he won. He's still alive. Make sure to like and follow for more. Love you guys.
Those competitions were insane.
Out to be real. Chuck E. Cheese animatronics move on their own. Chuck E. Cheese has been long rumored to be haunted by animatronic figures that move on their own, even when the power is off. These tales were often dismissed as mere urban legends meant to spook children. However, in 2019, a former employee's testimony brought an eerie truth to light. The employee recounted how during after-hour maintenance, the animatronics would occasionally shift positions or emit sounds despite being turned down. This phenomenon was actually captured on video showing an animatronic character moving its eyes and mouth when the restaurant was closed. The unsettling footage showed the animatronic's eyes flickering to life and their mouths moving silently. One night, the employee was cleaning when they noticed an animatronic had shifted slightly from its usual position. At first, they thought it was just a trick of the light or a mistake, but then the animatronic's eyes glowed eerily in the darkened room. A soft mechanical whirring sound filled the air and its mouth began to move as if it was speaking. Desperate to prove they weren't imagining things, the employees set up a camera the next night. The footage showed the animatronics moving on their own, their eyes darting around and their mouths opening and closing in the darkness. The video spread among the staff, many of whom had had their own unsettling experiences. Some reported hearing faint, childlike laughter when the restaurant was empty, while others felt cold spots in the sensation of being watched. If you have the guts, follow for the next urban legend.
Interesting people.
Five Nights at Freddy's, confirmed.
This man lives across the street from the most well-known life-ending cliff in Australia called The Gap. Over 50 years of living there, he has prevented around 160 different jumps from people who were contemplating by inviting them into his house for tea. This Bulgarian man walked up to 25 kilometers or 15 miles per day in the last 20 years of his life, asking people to donate for orphanages that could not pay their bills. He passed away in 2018 at 103 years old. Joseph Stalin's son was the team manager for the entire Soviet hockey team in the 1950s. When the entire hockey team perished in a plane crash, Joseph Stalin's son was so nervous about his father's reaction that he just put together a whole other team, and his father never knew the difference. Google sent an employee to this abandoned Japanese island to map it for Google Street View. This island at one time was the most densely populated island in the world, and is actually the island they used in the movie Skyfall.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. A 20-year-old gang member was dying of primary liver cancer. In his last days, hours, and moments, he was angry. The family called the hospice nurse into the room and told her that they thought he was going. He wasn't responding, his eyes were glossy, his skin was cold, the end was imminent. His lovely mother whispered to him to go towards the light, to her Jesus. He opened his eyes, looked at her, and said, "F your Jesus." A second or two later, he slowly turned his head to the left and got the most horrific look on his face, as if he was looking at something that they couldn't see. And horrified, his face contorted, and he screamed with his last breath, eyes wide, "Oh sh*! Oh sh*! Oh no!" Then he made a guttural noise and promptly fell back into the bed and died. Every family member was shaking and too frightened to speak. The hospice nurse left the room and took 2 days off. She said she doesn't care if she never finds out what he saw.
What did he see, man? His mom was trying to guide him towards the light. He just dismissed it. Looks like he saw his worst fears.
Facts that will mess with your perception of time, Part 1. Woolly mammoths were still around while Egyptians were building the pyramids. Oxford University existed for hundreds of years before the Aztec Empire was founded. George Washington never knew dinosaurs existed. The Nintendo company was founded while Jack the Ripper was still on the loose.
Things that are more creepy at night. Schools. Schools at night.
Hell yeah.
Alleyways. Alleyways at night.
Never walk with the alleyways at night. I can't do that. Nope.
Cemeteries. Cemeteries at night. Parking garages. Parking garages at night. The woods. The woods at night.
Of course the woods at night would be a scary place. It's too open.
Hospitals. Hospitals at night. A cabin in the woods. A cabin in the woods at night.
Have you heard about this supernatural phenomenon that sometimes happens to people in really bad car wrecks? Well,
No.
apparently multiple people who have been in horrible car accidents have reported seeing the same strange thing. It's called the third man syndrome, and it's when a supernatural presence offers comfort to a victim during a survival situation. I'm going to share one of the crazy stories with you now, but if you're interested in this, tonight's episode is going to be all of these stories. So a few years ago, a Reddit user was in a horrible car wreck. Like so bad they cut the car door off to get them out. They black out during the accident, but as they come to, they see a woman open their car door and get into the back seat. And the woman put her hand on the driver's shoulder and told him that it was going to be okay, and then she said that help was on the way. The user then blacked out again and came to with a fireman cutting off the door of the car. Afterwards, they're with it enough to talk to the police officers and the firemen on the scene, and they're telling them like, hey, there was this woman that got in the car with me, is she okay? And everyone is like, there was no one in the car with you. Apparently no cars passing by had even stopped for the accident because the fire department was so close, so it was super unlikely that anyone had gotten in the car with them. But this is not the only time that that's happened. Other people have reported a woman getting into the car with them after an accident. There's so many other supernatural stories just like this that I explore in the episode tonight, so make sure you're following along.
I went swimming with sharks and we ended up in the hospital, and not for any reason you think. Shout out to Nat Geo for sponsoring this video. I'm gonna change the way you look at sharks in less than 60 seconds. Let's get it. The author of Jaws, Peter Benchley, not only did he regret writing the book because of all the bad PR to sharks, he would dedicate the rest of his life to shark conservation. If Jaws were written today, the shark would be the victim. The Greenland shark is a slow burn glacier guppy that can not only live for up to 400 years, they don't hit baby making age until 150. 150, dude, and still young. Now, there's more than 500 types of sharks, so it's easy to miss one, like the chain cat shark, which happens to glow in the dark that's biofluorescence. The epaulet is a shark that disrespects the natural order by walking, using pelvic and pectoral fins to move around during low tide. Sharks use a type of camouflage called countershading, meaning if you're above them, they blend into the dark abyss, but if you're below them, their light underbelly gets lost in the light of the sky. When you've been around longer than trees, nature gives you perks like that. That's Anthony Mackie. It is, and he and Ross Edgley and many more will be a part of National Geographic Shark Fest airing on Disney Plus and Hulu. Check it out if you're ready to see sharks be anything but the bad guy. Oh, that's right. Well, I wasn't lying. The sharks are fine, but the ocean slammed me against the bars of the cage like it owed me money. So, moral of the story, I'm not afraid of sharks, just the ocean around it.
I could never do that. Because could you guys do that, man? I've been seeing a couple people, they could go in that little shark tank, shark cage. They can, like, bash against it. I'm not even risking that. That ain't me.
Terrifying facts about the ocean, let's get into it. So we've explored roughly 5% of the ocean, leaving many things and creatures yet to be discovered. Also, sunlight penetrates about 700 feet into the ocean, and after that we're in a murky black abyss where we cannot see anything, but many things can still see us. There are about 3 million shipwrecks, with countless human bodies being eaten by many undiscovered and unexplained organisms, so that's terrifying and horrible to think about. Also, there are many unexplained disappearances, from ships to planes to people. Also, the pressure at the bottom of the ocean is so immense it equates to 50 jumbo jets being piled on top of us. There are also plenty of terrifying and deadly diseases that eat our flesh while we were still alive in the ocean. Plenty of creatures have just been discovered, including the giant squid and the basking shark, so who knows what other giant and massive and deadly creatures have yet to be discovered. Also, here's a terrifying situation to think about. We cannot swim up out of the ocean very quick or we will die of something called the bends. So imagine being deep down in the ocean and trying to escape but realizing you cannot swim up, so you are fucked by whatever creature is chasing you. Also, there are tons of dead bodies. Yeah.
Here's more money facts that are gonna blow your mind. On Easter Sunday earlier this year, somebody accessed the Garda World cash storage facility in Los Angeles and stole $30 million. This is the largest heist in LA history, and nobody even noticed until 24 hours later. A man from China purchased a first-class ticket that included a VIP lounge that offered free food. He rescheduled his flight over 300 times to enjoy over 300 free meals. When he finally canceled his ticket, he did get a full refund. Steve Ballmer is now more rich than his former boss, Bill Gates, making this one of the only times in history where an employee became more rich than their founder. Bill Gates recently booked an entire Michelin-starred restaurant in Barcelona for 2 days only to order a Diet Coke and return to his plane. The chef had prepared a $313 tasting menu with gourmet dishes like caviar, but Bill Gates stated that his food preferences are simple and prefers burgers and Diet Coke. What's the most dangerous?
That LA story freaking got to me, bro. How is this my first time even hearing about it, man? Just imagine, man, $30 million gone and they didn't notice for 24 hours. I mean, like you said, it's the heist of the damn century, bro. What the hell?
Place on Earth. Number 8 is Lake Natron in Tanzania. The lake's so alkaline, animals get mummified. Number 7, Morgan Island, off the coast to South Carolina, with 4,000 monkeys all infected with the herpes B virus. 6 is Mexico's giant crystal cave, 1,000 feet underground. Cave is 113 degrees Fahrenheit and 100% humidity. 5, Oymyakon, Russia, the coldest town on Earth, reaching minus 50 degrees. Number 4, Runnet Island. In the 70s, the US government buried radioactive plutonium. Number 3, the K2 Summit. It's the inhospitable mountain summit in the world. Number 2 is Snake Island, an island full of thousands of poisonous snakes. It's illegal to go here. Number 1 is North Sentinel Island, home to the indigenous people who have violently rejected contact with the outside world. So much so, if you even get close, they'll swim out to you and try to kill you.
Man, stay away from that island, bro. I've heard about tribes like that. Yeah, they've been cut off for so long that human contact is just not viable. She glitching. Nah, she glitched, bro. That was a glitch in the Matrix, man.
Facts that could save your life one day. If you're ever somewhere really high, like a mountain, and feel your hair standing up randomly, don't take any pictures and run as fast as you can to cover. You're about to get hit by a lightning strike, just like these two teens that got hit moments after this picture was taken. If a stranger gets in your car with a weapon and asks you to drive them somewhere, most likely you will have your seatbelt on, but they won't. So drive fast enough into something like a lamppost. Not only will the accident cause a crowd, but it will also injure the stranger, giving you enough time to run away. And don't worry about your damaged car, your insurance will take care of it. And if you're at the beach and you suddenly see the ocean recede, don't think twice and get to high ground. You're most likely gonna get hit by a tsunami. Better safe than sorry. And finally, if you ever see a bouncing ball on the road while driving, slow down safely and look around, because the ball is usually followed by a small child trying to get it back.
True statement, man. Gotta be aware.
Creepy facts about your body you're gonna wish you didn't know. When you go down a drop on a roller coaster and you suddenly feel your stomach drop, it's not just you feeling nervous. What you're feeling are your organs actually moving. Have you ever noticed that an older person in your life seems to have very long, large ears? That's because your ears will never stop growing. Across your lifetime, you will spend an average of an entire year just sitting on a toilet. When we see brains outside of the human body, they usually look pretty solid, but your brain, while inside your skull while you're alive, is actually very soft. It's like melted butter soft.
Got brain jig.
This is one of
Butter
the
up
most
and down
sickening
picking
disturbing
heads.
cases I ever covered, and it will make any true crime fan's stomach turn. This is the case of Jennifer Dougherty. This case took place in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, which is a relatively small area. Jennifer was 30 years old and was extremely kind and sweet. She loved to dance and she trusted everyone she ever encountered. This is because she had some mental disabilities, and this disability even affected her keeping up with her peers in school. And she always got bullied and teased, but she always chose kindness over anything else. She then started going to this community center when she finally thought she met her friends. And these supposed friends were Angela, Peggy, Amber, Melvin, Ricky, and Robert. And you will soon find out why they weren't her friends. These 6 people all lived together, and Angela was 17, who was pregnant with Ricky's baby, who was 23 years old. Amber was 20, who was pregnant with Melvin Knight's baby. Peggy was 27, and Robert was 36. Now remember, Jennifer was 30 years old, but due to the mental disability she had the mental capabilities of a 12 to 14-year-old person. The 6 of them and Jennifer hung out for a while, but soon after, Angela became extremely jealous of Jennifer. This is because her boyfriend Ricky would always flirt with Jennifer when they all hung out. So Angela and Amber came up with this whole screwed up plan. On February 10th, 2010, Jennifer was invited to a sleepover with her friends. And before she left a note for her mom that said, "Have a great day at work, and I love you very much." Right when Jennifer stepped into the apartment house, she was subjected to 36 hours of extreme hell. The group went through her purse and stole money, gift cards, and her cell phone. They poured liquids into her bag, hit her head with filled soda bottles, cut her hair, painted her face with nail polish, and dumped liquids and spices on her head. They then took turns violently hitting Jennifer with a metal towel rack and crutches. Jennifer was also stripped naked, gagged, and then raped by Melvin. They even forced her to drink cooking oil, nail polish, detergent, different medications, and even urine. And keep in mind, this whole time, Jennifer completely trusted them, because she thought that they were all her friends. But they were literally dehumanizing her. They then continued pouring all of these things and spices on her head, and Jennifer was crying that her eyes hurt and she couldn't see. But they didn't listen and continued pouring. And after they decided they tortured her enough, they took her life.
They then tied her up in Christmas lights and forced her to write a fake suicide note, essentially saying that everything that happened to her was self-inflicted. The first line reads, "I have not been feeling happy for a while now, and I also feel everybody will be better off without me." Which is just sad because that wasn't the case. Jennifer was extremely loved. Once the note was written, they got a knife and stabbed Jennifer to death. And once they knew she was dead, they tied her up in Christmas lights again, stuffed her body inside a garbage can, and dumped it in the parking lot of a middle school, where her body would be discovered by a truck driver the next day on February 11th. Even though Angela orchestrated the whole thing, she avoided the death penalty because she was 17 and a minor. But she ended up getting life without parole. Melvin got the death sentence, Ricky was also given the death penalty, and Peggy, Amber, and Robert were given 30 to 72 years in prison. This case is just so sickening and disturbing, and it stuck with me after I read it, and I feel extremely bad for Jennifer and her family. I wish nothing but the worst for those 6 people who did this to Jennifer.
So much that you fake your own death to run away with another woman. Well, that's exactly what this man did. On August 11, Ryan Borgward went on a fishing trip, and that was the last time his wife and 3 kids saw him. His wife reported him missing, and when police went to go look for him, they found his kayak upside down, his car still parked, and his cell phone in the water. So obviously police thought that there was an accident and he drowned, so they had a search team look for him in the water, but they couldn't find him. But then in October, 2 months after he disappeared, police found out that he crossed over into Canada just a few days after he went missing. So imagine, at first the family's devastated because they think that their father is dead, but then they find out that he's alive and he's in Canada. When police got a hold of his laptop, they found out that this man had been plotting how to fake his death for months. He went about getting a new passport, purchased a $375,000 life insurance policy. He wiped out everything from his computer and even changed the emails linked to his bank accounts. But it gets even crazier because police found out that he sent money to a foreign account, and then they find out that he was in contact with a Russian woman this entire time. So did he leave his family to start a new life? But then everything kind of went downhill for him because he sent police a video telling them that he was safe and alive and there's nothing to be worried about. Then he decided to return to Wisconsin a couple of days ago, and he was arrested for faking his own death. So my question is, what made him come back? Did his relationship with this woman not work out?
Crazy things happen.
Maybe he had fizzled out or something like that, or he just thought he made a huge mistake, man. But it's too late. The consequences for freaking your death is, I'm guessing, it's pretty huge, bro. He couldn't just end it. He had to pull like a Taken, bro. Like he just freaking was gone, bro. Come on, man. We gotta do better than that, bro. Just end the relationship if it ain't worth it, bro.
Happening in the world right now. A bear that attacked luxury cars in LA was actually a person in a costume, according to insurance investigators. Passengers have a new fear unlocked because the plane they were on flew for 9 hours and then landed back at the same airport they came from. Mike Tyson reminded a child reporter that she too will die someday. A police officer pulled over his own boss for speeding. A former inmate sued Oklahoma jail officers for their baby shark torture tactic. A woman who dropped her phone in between 2 boulders got stuck upside down trying to get it. A fire station burned down in Germany after there was no fire detection system installed. The latest study shows that self-driving cars are safer than humans driving cars unless it's dawn, dusk, or it's trying to turn. A new alleged potato cartel is being accused of conspiring to raise the price of frozen fries and tater tots across the United States.
Facts that will definitely make your skin crawl.
They want that money.
There is more of a chance of you finding a dead body underneath your bed than actually finding it in the garbage. If you ever plug your nose during a sneeze, you can actually rupture a blood vessel in your neck or your brain and it'll cause you to bleed to death. The electric chair was actually invented by a dentist. If a black cat looks at you and runs, it usually means something is about to happen to you, usually being pretty bad.
Well, I heard someone said your body.
Take those facts in.
I agree. The best one. It is a sickness. So here's how nature deals with that. Bonobos actually have a system where if one female gets pressed by a male and she's not feeling him, she'll let out a cry, and every female in the group will pull up and put the beats on dude until he learns respect. They actually managed to nerf male aggression through the power of friendship. So you know when a new male lion takes over a pride, the first thing he does is cancel any cubs that didn't come from Well, his. Well, sometimes the lionesses ain't having it. Sometimes they jump the new guy. There was one case in Masai Mara where a male tried to steal food from some cubs and got absolutely obliterated by the mothers. They castrated him. I can't even show you that picture. The biggest threat to a baby bear is a bigger male, and some mother bears will purposely live closer to people, knowing that's the only thing keeping her biggest ops away. Ironically, some bears choose a man. Funny. When a capybara wants to dub a guy, she'll dive into the nearest body of water and just sit there. For as long as it takes. By the way, the guinea pig can stay under 5 minutes. Female dragonflies will fake their deaths to avoid male attention. Like they'll freeze in midair, crash to the ground, and just lay there and pray that stops them. Sometimes it doesn't. Some anacondas will seemingly let the male score, only to strangle him to a flatline and then eat him alive. The more you know.
Nah, the dragonfly pulling the fake freeze, bro. Like, you know how those streamers be doing, like, con them? There was fake freeze and the freaking avoided their acted, bro. Is that where they got it from? The more you know, man. We learning out here today.
Insane true stories that you won't believe. Back in 2004, a man named Mitch who was a senior in college fell in love with a girl in his grade. After they graduated, they moved in together and began to work. And 2 years later, they got married. Not too long after, Mitch's wife became pregnant. But his job was going so well that his wife was able to stay at home and take care of their newborn baby. And a few years after that, his wife became pregnant again. Mitch absolutely adored his family. And with raising his kids and having a great job, he was living his best life. But one night while he was watching TV, he noticed something strange out of the corner of his eye. A red lamp in their family living room was blurry. Nothing else in the room was blurry to Mitch except for that lamp. He decided to shrug it off, but when he looked at it again, it was not only blurry, but it appeared to be upside down. He didn't tell his family because he didn't want to concern them. But after a few days, Mitch became obsessed over this lamp. He even skipped work just to stare at it all day long. And he eventually became unresponsive. Part 2's up now.
Alright, who am I mad at? You! I'll never forgive you for that. Crazy how a cereal commercial managed to gaslight us about this bird. Toucans are one of the strangest dinosaurs still alive, and no, I'm being serious. First of all, it's not even a parrot, it's basically a giant woodpecker. And they're not just fruit-loving rainbow vegans, they eat other birds. As in, they'll go out of their way to raid nests and eat the baby birds inside. Yeah, follow your nose, right? You know, when they're not also murking bats and frogs and pretty much anything else. I've even seen one life-deprive an owl. Y'all think they're cute, but I see right through them. And like this bird in reverse, you can too. The skin is so thin and translucent, you can stretch it and shine a light through it. It's like it's not even there. They also have a serrated beak. You know, serrated, like a knife. Unless you're a flying fruit ninja, there's no reason for a vegetarian to have that hardware. The signs were there. This tropical drone also has a feather duster for a tongue. That tongue's entire purpose is to shove food back down his throat. And food could be a blueberry or a struggling baby bird trying to escape. But the only way out is through the south mouth. Speaking of which, this is my life. I hate it. Understand that owning a toucan is owning a ballistic, unregulated paintball that will redecorate your home with color bombs whenever they feel like it. I just want to reiterate, any small animal you put near this bird is in danger, but if you want to put a sugar glider next to a Fruit Loops mascot, that is a decision. And they're not that bad. The babies are cute, and they purr.
That's a woodpecker.
These are scary cartoon truths that'll terrify you, part 16. Charlie Brown apparently has cancer. The most obvious clue that Charlie Brown has cancer is that he is mostly bald except for the one small tuft of hair on the front of his head. No other character in the show appears as bald, so it implies that it just wasn't a random characteristic style. The other odd thing about Charlie Brown is his down and out personality. He's always dealing with existential crises, way deeper than any normal 8-year-old should contemplate. The theory goes on to suggest the reason that nothing ever works out for him and his life is always a disaster is because he's in a hospital bed, slowly fading away and projecting his sadness into dreams.
What do you guys think, man? We learned watching these clips together with you guys, bro, that we can't take what the media presents to us, man, as absolute truth. Charlie, man, Dark Origins confirmed? Our childhoods are different, bro.
These are the craziest knockoffs of popular cartoons. Most people know about the amazing world of Gumball. But today, I'm going to introduce you to Miracle Star, a Chinese show that was launched in 2014. This knockoff didn't just copy the animation style. It recreated entire scenes from Gumball. The main character is also a cat boy whose brother is a fish with legs. The creators of Gumball obviously found out about this. So they went ahead and made an episode called The Copycats, where the two families from the shows face off. Next, I think we all agree that the Cars franchise is a masterpiece. Well, today I'm bringing you something better. This is a movie called The Autobots, a Chinese movie that was released in 2015. The movie got immediate attention because of its resemblance to Cars. And when I say resemblance, I mean it's almost the exact same movie. The only difference is that in this world there are actual humans, and the characters are very slightly different. But it's pretty obvious that the main character is a blatant copy of Lightning McQueen. And in Cars we have Francesco, but in Autobots we have Francisco instead. The movie's director actually defended it, saying he had never seen Cars before. And there was a sequel planned to come out in 2017, but Disney won a copyright lawsuit against them, so it was cancelled.
That was the most obvious cap, bro, I've seen yet. Of course they were ripping it off. That's like copying somebody's work and just changing the words around. It's still the same.
The craziest Halloween houses you've ever seen. Someone turned their house into a castle and it comes with a dragon. This person made a UFO crash site in their front yard. You have to love Halloween to put that much effort into it. This guy built a huge scarecrow, and look how small he is compared to it. That's gigantic. Someone put a skeleton on the road and made it look like it's coming out of the ground. Before I show you the best one, I just found a way to prank your friends by replacing their text with whatever you want. If you want to prank your friends, press here on my profile, then press change your friends' text messages. And finally, I really don't like spiders, but this was very well done.
These are the strangest things that have ever been caught on camera. This video shows what appears to be a dark humanoid type creature crawling towards a bunch of boys playing soccer. Once the kids see it, they immediately run away in terror. Nobody knows for sure what this animal was, but many people claim that it was the South American mythical beast known as the Pombero. This next video was taken at the funeral of a 7-year-old girl. It shows one of the balloons that was next to her coffin somehow floating directly to her crying mother in the audience. Many people believe that this was the girl trying to comfort her mother from the grave.
Is that an edit or was that legit, man?
Male Lion will step in and show everyone how it's done.
I'm so glad you said that, because I've been wanting to talk about this for a minute. Now I have an excuse. Male lions can hunt. They're actually very good at it. Do you peep the 2 minute? The whole them not hunting thing, that comes from lion pride, and there's a reason for that. You see, lady lions are great at getting groceries, but they can get jacked by hyenas or even other male lions. I think it's something like they only keep 24% of the animals they take down, so it's actually the male's job to defend and kill. Kind of hard to do that when you spend all that energy catching it. Also, the way they hunt is different. Lionesses hunt as a pack running down prey. With lions, the mane kind of gives them away, so they're mostly ambush hunters. The male lions do help hunt. It's usually to help bring down bigger tanks like buffalo. They're like mercenaries. They just come in and finish the job. Simba also has to patrol his territory and run phase with any down bad males that want to take over his pride. Yeah, no pride to be found after that. Also, before they even get a pride, they're in their bachelor nomad era, and if they don't hunt for themselves, they die. Here's some other lion facts, just because I feel like it. It's actually proven. Lions will leave an area after murking something, just to give their survivors a chance to let their guard back down. Some lionesses will purposely play paternity roulette and give up the lion yash to any males, even ones outside the pride, because not knowing who the father is actually saves the cubs from meeting Mufasa. In 2004, a man jumped into a lion exhibit and attempted to convert them to Christianity. Yeah, the cats. He told them Jesus will save you, and for his efforts he nearly got a meet and greet with him. The more you know.
Here's how shows were originally supposed to look. So Toy Story featured this much larger, wide-chinned Woody that was actually supposed to be a villain, with Buzz Lightyear appearing in a red suit. Glad they changed that. Monsters Inc. originally animated Mike Wazowski without hands and looking a bit less friendly, and Sully was completely different, foregoing blue for brown and looking a bit more dorky. Lost media of Shrek was found in 1996, which had Shrek looking a lot creepier with very little resemblance to the good-looking man that we all know and love today. Lightning McQueen was supposed to be a basic stock car with more body to appeal to more viewers, since race cars are considered to be too low. Finding Nemo originally had the whale scene with only Nemo, and made the blue whale a lot less intimidating than in the final version. Smurfs had an unpolished finish leading up to the days before final production, looking like this. And finally, Sonic from Sonic the Hedgehog movie was originally animated to look like this. Pretty cool, right?
This man was seen.
We know how that went. Thank you for those redesigns, bro. They freaking define people's childhoods, bro. Especially, man, that Sonic redesign, bro. I remember the Havoc that came out when they dropped that trailer. It was shit on Twitter. They had to go back to the drawing board. Thank you for that, bro.
Seen sleepwalking every night to an abandoned well, and when people found out why, he was arrested. Part 2. Inside, they found barrels of gunpowder. It turns out Assad was sent to the village by a large mining company. The village was actually built on a large gold deposit, but for years the villagers wouldn't let the company mine it. So every week the company would send Assad a shipment of gunpowder which he secretly poured down the well. And when the time was right, he would set it off, causing a massive landslide, destroying the village and letting the company mine the gold. But before I tell you what happened, if you want to erase corrupt world leaders that invade other countries or really anything from your photos, you need to try this. Just press this button on my profile and try erasing something. Since Assad was always thinking about this plan, he would subconsciously walk there while he was sleepwalking, which ultimately got him caught.
The ultimate sleepwalker, bro. He was dedicated to that plan. I don't know how much that had to be drilled into you, bro, to be doing that while you're sleeping. I've never seen a sleepwalker before. I think that's weird, bro.
3 facts that could save your life, part 5. If you ever find yourself trapped on a thin piece of ice and have no way of getting back to safe land before it breaks, lie down on your stomach and start slowly crawling back to exactly the way you came in on. That'll put less stress on the ice, making it almost impossible for it to break. Most people understand flags on shorelines, but the purple flag confuses most people. The purple flag being the warning that the most dangerous sea creatures are in that exact area, such as jellyfish, stingrays, and of course, sharks. If you ever feel like puking while you're scuba diving, vomit into the regulator. Do not remove it from your mouth. Removing it from your mouth will make it impossible to reapply it on your face, meaning that you're probably pretty far underwater, and once you remove that from your face, you probably will most likely drown. Like and follow for more videos.
Okay. I think the last one was pretty...
So, nobody finds it interesting that Moana goes looking for her ancestors that are connected to the sea and she comes back with new...
Hello, my friend. How could Moana have African-appearing ancestors if she's meant to be Polynesian? This is an understandable mistake, but the people depicted in Moana 2 are not meant to be African, but instead Melanesians. While the Melanesian appearance shares a lot in common with the appearance of populations in Africa, they're actually further genetically to Africans than Europeans are. The story of Moana is rooted in the history of the Austronesian migration. Around 4,000 years ago, it's understood that Austronesian-speaking people began their voyages from Taiwan, moving across the islands of Southeast Asia. As they sailed, parts of their population settled in islands they crossed, developing into the populations of Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines, to name a few. They eventually sailed across the Pacific Ocean, and some even reached Madagascar, leading to the people of Madagascar today. It's the part of the migration where they started sailing across the Pacific Ocean that explains what you saw in the movie, as well as why Polynesians tend to appear physically different than their Indonesian or Filipino cousins. The Austronesians that sailed towards the Pacific began interacting with the Melanesians, who today remain residing in the islands of Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Fiji. Over thousands of years, these groups remained interacting with each other, trading goods, ideas, and even genetics. And so that's why Polynesians and, well, Moana would have some Melanesian ancestry.
Celebrities that disappeared and were never found. Bison Dele played in the NBA for 8 years after being drafted in 1991, even winning a championship alongside Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls in 1997. Despite having 5 more years in a $45 million contract with the Pistons, he abruptly retired at the age of 30 in 1999. In his retirement, he enjoyed traveling the world in his catamaran boat that he called Hakuna Matata. On July 6th of 2002, Bison, his older brother Miles, his girlfriend Serena, and skipper Bertrand left Tahiti. By July 8th, the family of Bison and Serena had completely lost contact with them. On July 20th, Miles returned to Tahiti with the boat, but this time he was alone. 2 months later, Miles would be arrested in Phoenix for attempting to forge his brother's signature, attempting to buy over $150,000 worth of gold. The boat was discovered off the coast of Tahiti with the nameplate completely removed and possible bullet holes that had been patched. Now, he confessed that him and his brother had gotten into an argument on the boat. Bison's girlfriend was accidentally hit, fell over, and smacked her head on the part of the boat, which resulted in her death. The captain then wanted to report her death, which is why Bison killed him. Miles then shot his brother in self-defense, threw the bodies overboard, and fled back to the US. Obviously, the story doesn't quite add up. Now, before police could even attempt to try and verify his story, he intentionally overdosed on insulin and died September 27th, 2002.
Oh, brother, bro. For some gold, man. He just thought he can sell back and everything and be okay. No, I don't work like that, man. Consequences, reactions. That's an edit.
My biggest fear was having an ugly baby. Now look what the fuck I got. Look at him. He is so funny looking.
How dare you say something like this about your own child? To all the moms watching this, do you think this is normal? Now, I'm not married, I don't have kids, but this is messed up. You've been carrying this child for 9 months. This child is your own skin, and you go and call him ugly publicly online. To me, miss, your child looks adorable. There are women out there that gave birth to babies missing arms and legs, and they were never treated differently than other kids. These kids eventually grow up winning golden medals in Special Olympics.
Talk about it.
But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with your child, miss. What a shame. What a shame.
Yeah, like, but how can you talk about that like your own flesh and blood? Saying talking about you have an ugly baby. That was a cute baby. Like, but that doesn't even make sense. Man, this world of secrets. We have to be better as a people, everybody, but just be better as human beings.
An influencer has died at a creator event hosted by Box Lunch. If you're not aware of the story or of Dominique and the events that led up to this, Dominique Brown is a Disney influencer. She was invited to attend a creator event that was going to be hosted by Box Lunch. Dominique also had a number of severe allergies, which allegedly she had made the events team very aware of. But despite them being aware of that, an incident took place at the event where Dominique suffered a severe allergic reaction. People who were at the event made allegations that she did not receive very necessary medical attention in time, and it was confirmed Dominique did die at the event. The most disturbing and dystopian thing about all of this is that other creators, other influencers who attended this event are allegedly still posting content, positive content from the event, as if this event did not happen.
These are the most haunted places
people do for money.
in the Philippines. Before I start listing them down, you do need to know that for all paranormal investigators, the country of Philippines is on their to-do list, as it's known worldwide for its haunted destinations. Starting at number 4, Fort Santiago, Intramuros in Manila. The walls of Intramuros turn into something terrifying, reminding you of the dark Spanish era. Thousands of civilians and soldiers were tortured and killed in Fort Santiago during World War II. It may be a hot tourist spot, but at night, the strange noises that are heard in this fort tends to keep visitors and tourists away. Number 3, Clark Air Base Hospital in Pampanga. This abandoned building used to be a military hospital during World War II and the Vietnam War. Paranormal investigators have confirmed that demons have conquered this property. It is commonly visited by YouTubers, but things always go wrong. The jinns that are specifically in this hospital are a little more protective towards their home. Number 2, Manila Film Center, Pasay City. This building is potentially one of Asia's most haunted destinations. When a building is haunted in the United States, you will hear noises. But when a building is haunted in the Philippines, it is a whole nother level. This film center was abandoned in the 80s after it collapsed during construction. It killed all the workers, and none of their bodies were retrieved. And ever since, visitors were always warned to stay out of this building. The bad energy in this place spiritually drains you. And finally, number 1, Diplomat Hotel in Baguio City. Baguio City is ranked as the world's most haunted city as a whole. The Diplomat Hotel goes way back to 1911. no priests were able to cleanse this place. After many deaths inside this hotel, the business ceased its operations in 1987. Many paranormal investigators from around the world swore that they would never visit this building again. The Philippines is a beautiful country, but it is well known for its horrifying stories. You tell me, what country should I do next?
Thanks for telling us, man. Now go to the Philippines. Those will not be on the destination list, bro. Thanks for updating my knowledge base. We needed that. Seekers, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today, man. Like I said, comment down below, man. What do you guys think of this video? Did you guys learn anything new? Follow me on all my social medias, man. Also hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload a video. You guys can catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.